Chapter 9:12. First, looks like this is the end of the three division masters. Emperor Tianyuan's voice became somewhat gloomy. One could imagine that if he did not give the heads of the three demon emperors to the three division masters, the three division masters would not have sent their troops. Other than the forces under his control, the strongest force in Tianyuan Kingdom was in the hands of the three division masters. If the three division masters did not meet up with him, he would become a lone army. Then the troops he led would not even be enough to fill the gaps between the teeth of the broken dynasty. Although the three division masters were now sending their troops to meet up with him, Emperor Tianyuan knew that this had nothing to do with the three division masters' loyalty to him. It was entirely because the three division masters saw the heads of the demon emperors and were afraid of his methods. Therefore, in his opinion, the three division masters must not be left alive. Otherwise, they could betray him at any time. Slow down and wait for the armies of the three divisions to converge. At that time, we will face the enemies of Duan dynasty. Since the three divisions had moved, Emperor Tianyuan's anxious heart could finally relax. After all, with the three division masters, they would still have the strength to fight against the broken dynasty. Although it would be difficult to defeat the broken dynasty with the strength of Tianyuan Kingdom. But if the Tianyuan Kingdom went all out and fought to the death, he believed that the broken dynasty would not have it easy either. At this moment, in the direction of the broken dynasty, the imperial court was in an uproar. Damn it! Why haven't the three demon emperors returned yet? Duan Tianya angrily slammed the dragon throne. The emperor's royal aura suppressed all the ministers, making them breathless. Is there any news of the three demon emperors? Duan Tianya frowned and asked. The three demon emperors were a huge force to Duan Tianya. He absolutely could not afford to lose them. Your Majesty, could something have happened to the three demon emperors? A minister asked with a worried face. Impossible. The three demon emperors are strong. How could something happen to them? That's right. Where can the Tianyuan Kingdom find experts to deal with the three demon emperors? Who doesn't know that the Tianyuan Kingdom's royal family is desolate and can no longer produce any demon emperors? As soon as the minister's voice fell, it caused a wave of opposition. Reporting to your Majesty, something bad has happened. At this moment, a scout ran into the hall anxiously. Speak, what's the matter? Seeing how flustered the spy was, Duan Tianya asked in a low voice. Tianyuan Kingdom's Dragon Flag Division, Wunan Division, and Qiuqing Division, send out your entire army and charge towards our borders. The scout panted heavily as he replied. What? Haven't the three divisions of the Tianyuan Kingdom been biding their time? Why did the three divisions suddenly mobilize their entire army? The strength of those three divisions cannot be underestimated. They have a total of 5 to 6 million soldiers. That's not the most important thing. The most important thing is that the strength of each of the three division masters is at the Demon Emperor level. Now that the three divisions are on the move, they will surely bring some trouble to the army of the broken dynasty. Hearing the spy's words, the entire imperial court was in an uproar. That's enough. Making such a ruckus in the imperial court. Where are your manners? Duan Tianya was already in a bad mood. Now that he heard that the three divisions of the Tianyuan Kingdom had sent out their army, he was even more furious. Hence, when he saw the noisy crowd, he couldn't help but shout angrily. When the crowd heard Duan Tianya's angry shout, they immediately quieted down. My Duan Tianya has a total of 10 million soldiers. Even if the Tianyuan Kingdom mobilizes their entire army, what can they do? Duan Tianya's tone was filled with arrogance and confidence. Although he was unhappy when he heard that the Tianyuan Kingdom had mobilized their entire army, he no longer cared about the Tianyuan Kingdom. Give my orders. Mobilize the army and attack the Tianyuan Kingdom. Duan Tianya didn't want to wait any longer. He wanted to defeat the army of the Tianyuan Kingdom before the army of the Tianyuan Kingdom could gather. Following Duan Tianya's orders, the 10 million soldiers of the broken dynasty moved out. Like a tsunami, they swept towards the Tianyuan Kingdom. Under the powerful siege of the 10 million soldiers, Many of the cities of the Tianyuan kingdom wanted to resist, but they were powerless. After all, the Broken Dynasty was ruthless this time and directly sent out the Demon Emperor. No matter which city of the Tianyuan kingdom was attacked, the Demon Emperor would definitely be the first to attack and suppress the experts of the Tianyuan kingdom. Then, the army of the Broken Dynasty would directly rush into the city and start killing and looting. Wherever the army of the Broken Dynasty passed, blood would flow like a river. The elderly, women, and children would be killed without mercy. As for the strong young men, they would be captured and ordered as slaves. Damn it, Duanqinya is too much. Emperor Tianyuan looked exhausted at this moment. His eyes were red and filled with anger. Since yesterday, he had received more than 100 urgent documents. These documents didn't have any good news. Roughly speaking, there were already 10 cities of the Tianyuan kingdom that had been breached. Moreover, the cities that had been breached didn't have a good ending. Almost all of them were massacred. One must know that the number of people who had been massacred in those 10 cities of various sizes was more than 10 million. This made Emperor Tianyuan's heart bleed continuously. After all, no matter what, these were his people. At this moment, his people were being treated like this by the Broken Dynasty. How could he not be angry? Invite Lord Huang Zhong here. Emperor Tianyuan thought for a moment and ordered the guard beside him. After a while, Huang Zhong walked in. Greetings, Your Majesty. What is the matter, Your Majesty is looking for Huang Zhong. Lord Huang Zhong, please have a seat. Emperor Tianyuan said to Huang Zhong, and a guard brought in a disciple. Thank you, Your Majesty. Huang Zhong didn't stand on ceremony and directly sat on the chair. Lord Huang Zhong, I have something to ask of you. Emperor Tianyuan looked at Huang Zhong with a difficult expression. Please speak, Your Majesty. My lord has ordered me to listen to Your Majesty's commands and protect Your Majesty's safety. Huang Zhong replied immediately when he heard Emperor Tianyuan's words. Lord Huang Zhong, take a look at these official documents, and you will understand. Emperor Tianyuan handed over all the official documents on his seat to Huang Zhong. Huang Zhong glanced at the documents that Emperor Tianyuan had brought over before glancing at the Emperor Tianyuan. Then, he started to look through the documents in his hands. Even though Huang Zhong wasn't a citizen of the Tianyuan kingdom, he couldn't help but frown when he saw the contents of the documents. How despicable! Huang Zhong was furious when he saw that the people of the Broken Dynasty weren't even sparing the elderly, women, or children. My lord, you have seen it. The Broken Dynasty is simply too much. Emperor Tianyuan said furiously. Therefore, I would like you to do me a favor. Chapter 9:13. 1. I want Lord to help me kill the Broken Dynasty's demon emperors and demon venerables to stop the Broken Dynasty's advance. Emperor Tianyuan stated his plan. Hearing Emperor Tianyuan's words, Huang Zhong's face revealed a difficult expression. What? Can't I? Emperor Tianyuan looked at Huang Zhong with a worried expression, afraid that Huang Zhong would refuse. After all, Huang Zhong was Yihao's man, and he was also a peak 10th Order Demon Emperor. He could only slowly discuss with Huang Zhong. If Huang Zhong really refused, then there was nothing he could do. After all, if it wasn't for Huang Zhong, he might have died before this. It's not that I can't, but Lord gave me the order to protect Your Majesty. If I go to kill the Broken Dynasty's experts, I'm worried that Your Majesty. Huang Zhong's voice trailed off. Emperor Tianyuan immediately understood that Huang Zhong was worried about him. Emperor Tianyuan couldn't help but smile and said, Rest assured, Lord, I will be fine. Then I will rush back as soon as possible. Your Majesty must pay attention to your safety. Seeing Emperor Tianyuan's pleading eyes, Huang Zhong could only agree. Don't think of resisting. Under this demon emperor's eyes, it's useless to resist. In front of the Tianyuan kingdom's Heaven Luo city, a demon emperor expert led an army of millions behind him and surrounded the city. Oh, what should we do? The enemy has so many people. The key is that they have demon emperor experts. We can't resist at all. Oh God, can't you be merciful and give us a way out? At this moment, The air above Heaven Luo City was shrouded in a panicked atmosphere. Tianyuan Kingdom's soldiers, no matter what, we will die anyway. Fight them to the death. That's right, we will die either way. Fight them to the death. Even if we die, we can't just stand there and let them kill us in vain. At this moment, a group of soldiers from Tianluo City immediately attacked the troops of Broken Dynasty. You're courting death. Looking at the soldiers who were charging towards them, they should be considered experts in Tianluo City. Many of them were devil lords and devil emperors. However, the demon emperor of the Broken Dynasty didn't care about these people at all. With a single move, the soldiers of the Tianyuan Kingdom were all lying in a pool of blood. This was the difference between them. As a demon emperor, he could control a trace of spiritual power. Therefore, in front of him, everyone below the devil emperor level was nothing but an ant. Unless it was a devil emperor powerhouse who made a move, no one was a match for him. Roar! 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 The Broken Dynasty's army immediately let out an excited roar. When the citizens and soldiers of Tianluo City saw this scene, their faces turned ashen. Soldiers, you know the rules. Apart from those who can be slaves, kill them all. The Demon Emperor powerhouse heard the excited shouts behind him and couldn't help but open his mouth to speak. But before the Demon Emperor could finish his words, his voice suddenly stopped. Everyone couldn't help but look at the Demon Emperor. But then, they were in disbelief. This was because they all saw that an arrow had appeared on the Demon Emperor's forehead. Plop! Then, the Demon Emperor's body fell to the ground. Everyone saw this inexplicable scene and didn't understand what had happened. This was a Demon Emperor powerhouse. His terrifying strength was something that they had seen with their own eyes. But now, he had been killed by an arrow. How could they not be shocked? How dare you offend the Tianyuan Kingdom? All of you shall be buried with them. At this moment, a voice seemed to have come from the horizon. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At this moment, suddenly, the sound of something breaking through the air could be heard. Then, arrows broke through the air and shot towards the Broken Dynasty's camp. The power of the arrows was extremely strong. It wasn't something that the soldiers could dodge. In the blink of an eye, the people of the Broken Dynasty had suffered many casualties. And if one looked carefully, they would discover that the soldiers of the Broken Dynasty who had died were all strong. The weakest had reached the Demon Emperor level. Therefore, some of the stronger soldiers of the Broken Dynasty began to panic in their hearts. Not good. Quickly withdraw the army. There are powerhouses ambushing here. Quickly withdraw the army. If we don't withdraw the army now, it will be too late. Quickly escape. In the Broken Dynasty's army, it was unknown who spoke. Suddenly, the million-strong army began to panic, and countless people began to retreat. This should have been a good opportunity to pursue the enemy. However, no one in Tianluo City could chase after them. We are saved. After half a day, the people of Tianluo City saw that the Broken Dynasty's army had retreated. When Huangzhong saw that the problem of Tianluo City was solved, he couldn't help but move towards the next city. His goal was very clear. That was to kill the Demon Emperor powerhouse. The fish has taken a bait. When Duan Tianya saw the report in his hand, not only was he not angry, but he also laughed. Strange? Why do the Broken Kingdom's Demon Emperor powerhouses seem to have all suddenly disappeared? Where did the Demon Emperor powerhouses run to? It shouldn't be. Why does it seem like the Demon Emperor powerhouses all disappeared into thin air? Huangzhong continuously searched for a long time, but only discovered the Broken Dynasty's army. He did not discover the Broken Kingdom's Demon Emperor powerhouses, and he could not alert the enemy. He could only be patient and search slowly. Kill! Right at this time, a shout to kill sounded out. Huangzhong suddenly discovered that he had actually fallen into an encirclement. A bunch of trash still want to stop me. Although the number of people surrounding him was a little too much, Huangzhong did not put in his eyes. Because he firmly believed in his own strength, these people could not cause harm to him. Huangzhong raised his hand and his blade fell. With a casual wave, countless people died under his hands. But what troubled Huangzhong was that these people seemed to not be afraid of death, and could not be killed. Can't you kill? I have 2 million soldiers here for you to kill. Let's see if 2 million people die first or you die first. You should tire yourself to death first. Just as Huang Zhong was fighting, a voice suddenly rang out in his ears. Hearing this voice, Huang Zhong could not help but frown. Because there were so many people here, it was really difficult for him to escape in a short time. All right, I forgot to tell you. Aren't you looking for my Broken Kingdom's Demon Emperor? Actually, my Broken Kingdom's Lord Demon Emperor has already gone to pay a visit to your Emperor Tianyuan. After a long time, that voice seemed to have thought of something and spoke again. What did you say? Hearing this voice, Huang Zhong's expression changed. He finally knew why he could not find the Broken Kingdom's Demon Emperor powerhouse. Not good, His Majesty is in danger. Huang Zhong suddenly became anxious in his heart. Chapter 9:14. 1. Oh no! Huang Zhong's heart sank, and he was extremely anxious. When he heard that voice, he knew that he had fallen into Duan Dynasty's trap. Duan Dynasty was already prepared and knew that he would come to kill their demon emperor. Therefore, Duan Dynasty went all out and used the demon emperor to lure him. But when he killed the first demon emperor, the other demon emperors of Duan Dynasty began to move and went to find Emperor Tianyuan. As for him, he had fallen into the midst of the 2 million-strong army. Although he was a peak 10th Order Demon Emperor, it was impossible for him to kill 2 million soldiers. Huang Zhong was extremely regretful. At the same time, he was worried about Emperor Tianyuan's safety. After all, if something happened to Emperor Tianyuan, he wouldn't be able to explain it to Yi Hao. But he had tried many times to break through the encirclement of the army. But there were too many people, and he couldn't break through it all. Haha, no matter how strong you are, you won't be able to escape today. Seeing Huang Zhong's intention, the voice couldn't help but mock. Emperor Tianyuan, we are here to pay our respects under the orders of our lord. Come out and welcome us. A voice directly exploded above Tianyuan Kingdom's army. Who dares to clamor here? Zhang Yinwei heard the voice and immediately looked for the source of the voice. At the same time, he shouted, Haha, Tianyuan Kingdom really has no one. The Emperor's personal bodyguard is actually only a 10th Order Demon Venerable. Haha, this is really ridiculous. After seeing Zhang Yinwei appear, 5 figures walked out and looked at Zhang Yinwei with ridicule. Zhang Yinwei looked at the 4 people who suddenly appeared. The powerful aura on their bodies told him that he was definitely not their opponent. When he heard these people mocking his cultivation level, he felt even more ashamed. But Zhang Yinwei knew that these people were probably Duan Dynasty's experts, so he couldn't lose in terms of momentum. And, at the very least, he had Huang Zhong, this expert, so he didn't have to be afraid. Haha, so it's Duan Dynasty who sent you to court death. Zhang Yinwei looked directly at the 4 people and said with a sneer, What do you mean? Being treated like this by a puny demon supremacy made the 4 demon emperors extremely unhappy. One of the demon emperors stared coldly at Zhang Yinwei. Didn't you guys already send 3 devil emperors over? Don't you know that they're already dead? Zhang Yinwei wasn't afraid of the 4 devil emperors and pretended to be surprised. What? They're all dead. Hearing Zhang Yinwei's words, the 4 demon emperors exchanged glances. Their faces were filled with shock. Before they came, they had already guessed that the 3 demon emperors who had come earlier were most likely dead. However, when they heard Zhang Yinwei say it, they were still shocked. So if you don't want to die, you'd better leave quickly. Otherwise, the experts will kill all of you. Zhang Yinwei said, trying to scare the group of people away. Ha ha ha, what a joke. He even killed all of us. I guess you still don't know that your expert isn't here. I'm guessing that your experts are currently being besieged by millions of troops. As soon as Zhang Yinwei's voice fell, the 4 demon emperors' mocking voices rang out. What did you guys say? Zhang Yinwei panicked when he heard the 4 demon emperors' words. Could it be that Lord Huang really isn't here? Zhang Yinwei thought of a terrifying possibility. If Huang Zhong was here, then he wouldn't have to fear the 4 demon emperors in front of him. However, if Huang Zhong wasn't here, then it would be dangerous today. You guys stay here and watch. I'll go find Emperor Tianyuan. One of the four demon emperors suddenly said. Not good. Stop him and protect his majesty. Seeing the demon emperor moving, Zhang Yinwei immediately shouted anxiously. As soon as Zhang Yinwei's voice fell, a group of soldiers immediately attacked the demon emperor in an attempt to stop him. A bunch of trash. You still want to stop me? The demon emperor looked at the soldiers rushing towards him and couldn't help but wave his hand disdainfully. Suddenly, a powerful force surged out from his hand. The group of guards couldn't fight back and were directly sent flying. They crashed to the ground and couldn't be more dead. Seeing this scene, Zhang Yinwei's face was pale. Those who block me will die. The demon emperor's tone was very overbearing. After speaking, he released the aura of a fourth-order demon emperor. As soon as the aura of the demon emperor was released, the guards who wanted to stop the demon emperor didn't dare to go forward. Of course, there were many people who were loyal to Emperor Tianyuan, but as soon as they rushed forward, they were instantly killed by the demon emperor. Stop him for me. Don't let him hurt his majesty. Zhang Yinwei immediately said anxiously. Dog, you talk too much. Hearing Zhang Yinwei's continuous shouting, one of the remaining three demon emperors directly waved his hand. In an instant, a powerful force bombarded Zhang Yinwei's body. Zhang Yinwei immediately used his strength to block, but his strength of a 10th-order demon venerable was pitifully weak in front of a demon emperor. Therefore, Zhang Yinwei's defense was instantly broken. Zhang Yinwei was also sent flying. Your Majesty, this general is useless. Zhang Yinwei crashed to the ground and struggled with all his might, but he couldn't stand up at all. Everyone, since we are bored, why don't we kill the trash of the Tianyuan kingdom and see who can kill more? A demon emperor looked at the million soldiers of the Tianyuan kingdom and suddenly said viciously, That's a good idea. It's a blessing for these ants to die in our hands. Okay, then let's see who can kill more. The remaining two demon emperors immediately agreed with joy. The three demon emperors immediately went to kill in three different directions. Under the attacks of the three demon emperors, many soldiers didn't have the strength to fight back at all. A casual attack from the three demon emperors would take away several or even dozens of lives. In the blink of an eye, thousands of soldiers died in the hands of the three demon emperors. Damn it, no! Seeing the soldiers of the Tianyuan kingdom being killed like ants, Zhang Yinwei immediately let out a heart-wrenching roar. In the Tianyuan kingdom's army, the three demon emperors wantonly slaughtered the soldiers of the Tianyuan kingdom as if there was no one there. Brothers, fight out with them. The soldiers of the Tianyuan kingdom were also in a frenzy as they attacked the demon emperors one after another. However, their attacks were pitifully weak and couldn't cause any damage to the demon emperors. At this moment, the demon emperor found Emperor Tianyuan and grabbed hold of the Emperor Tianyuan to mock him. Your Majesty Tianyuan, take a good look at how your soldiers are being slaughtered. Chapter 9:15. 1. Haha. Killing this bunch of trash is so boring. Yeah, they don't even have the strength to fight back. You too, stop talking nonsense. I've already killed 2,000 to 3,000 people. How many have you killed? I've killed at least 2,000 people. The three demon emperors were still discussing as they fought. They didn't take the million soldiers seriously at all. It was as if they were beasts that they could kill at will. There was a trace of weakness on Emperor Tianyuan's face. At the same time, his heart was filled with regret. If he had known this would happen, he wouldn't have sent Huang Zhong to kill the demon emperors. Who knew that in the end, he would fall for the Heaven's End Cliff's trick and fall into such a dangerous situation. Emperor Tianyuan's face turned ashen when he saw this scene. If he went on like this, his million soldiers would be crippled. Stop it. At this moment, a young man's voice was heard. Hearing this voice, Emperor Tianyuan's face showed a glimmer of hope. Who is it? The demon emperor who was holding Emperor Tianyuan turned to look at the newcomer. He saw Yihao walking towards him with Sun Shangxiang. Seeing Emperor Tianyuan's weak face, Yihao's face darkened. Let her go, and I'll leave your corpse intact. Yi Hao couldn't help but feel lucky that he had come in time. Otherwise, Emperor Tianyuan would have been doomed. Huh? Where did this arrogant brat come from? Who do you think you ought to leave my corpse intact? Hearing Yi Hao's words, the demon emperor mocked him mercilessly. Xiang attack. Hearing the demon emperor's mockery, Yi Hao wasn't angry. He couldn't be bothered to talk nonsense with him and directly ordered Sun Shangxiang. Yes, Sun Shangxiang nodded. Then, she moved and attacked the demon emperor. Girl, not bad. What a shame, you're about to die. The devil emperor shook his head while looking at Sun Shangxiang. The demon emperor struck out with his palm. A powerful and brutal force swept towards Sun Shangxiang. The demon emperor looked at Sun Shangxiang with contempt. He did not put him in his eyes at all. You're courting death. Yi Hao shook his head when he saw the demon emperor's actions. If the devil emperor went all out, he might be able to block a few moves from Sun Shangxiang. If the demon emperor used Emperor Tianyuan as a threat, Sun Shangxiang would be bound and unable to do anything to him. However, since he had underestimated Sun Shangxiang, there was only one outcome for him, and that was death. Seeing the demon emperor's casual palm strike, Sun Shangxiang's lips curled into a sneer. Suddenly, a cold light flashed in his hand. Then, his aura burst out and swept toward the demon emperor. Bang! Sun Shangxiang's body emitted a huge amount of power that directly crushed the power of the demon emperor's palm strike. The demon emperor's expression changed. He wanted to grab Emperor Tianyuan and retreat. However, Sun Shangxiang had already arrived in front of him. With a wave of his hand, the cold light pierced through the demon emperor's throat. The demon emperor's eyes widened. He could not believe that he died just like that. Are you okay? Yi Hao came to Emperor Tianyuan and asked with concern. Cough, cough, I'm fine. Why are you here instead of staying in the palace? Cough, cough. Emperor Tianyuan said while coughing. I'm a little worried, so I came over to take a look. Yi Hao said honestly. After all, Tianyuan Kingdom would be his in the future. Therefore, whether or not they could defeat Duan Dynasty had a lot to do with him. Otherwise, when Tianyuan Kingdom's strength and soldiers were all killed by Duan Dynasty, the land would be occupied by Duan Dynasty and the people would be killed. Then, even if he became Emperor Tianyuan, what was the use of it? Sun Shangxiang killed the demon emperor. The remaining 3 demon emperors of Duan Dynasty also noticed this at this moment. One by one, they put down the killing in their hands and attacked Yi Hao. The 3 demon emperors looked at the corpses on the ground and were shocked, because they did not react at all. Just now, they were completely immersed in the killing. They were competing with each other to see who killed more Tianyuan Kingdom soldiers and did not see what happened here. By the time they reacted, one of their demon emperors had already been killed. Who killed him? The 3 demon emperors emitted a strong killing intent as they stared at Yi Hao and Sun Shangxiang. Yi Hao looked at the bloodstains on the 3 of them, and then looked at the blood-soaked ground and the tragic deaths of tens of thousands of soldiers. Kill them. Seeing this, Yi Hao did not want to talk nonsense with the 3 of them. Although he wasn't a gentleman or a saint, he wouldn't take human lives as a form of entertainment just by looking at the 3 of them. Maybe from the standpoint of Duan Dynasty, what the 3 demon emperors did was not a big deal. But from Yi Hao's standpoint, or Tianyuan Kingdom's standpoint, the 3 of them in front of him should be chopped into pieces, and it would not be enough to appease the hatred in his heart. What an arrogant brat. See how this demon emperor kills you first. One of the demon emperors heard Yi Hao's words and attacked Yi Hao directly. Your opponent is me. You don't have the right to fight with my master. Sun Shangxiang moved and stood in front of the demon emperor to block him. Sun Shangxiang struck out with his sword. That demon emperor did not dare to take it head-on and dodged to the side. When the other 2 demon emperors saw this scene, they could not help frowning. The dodging demon emperor could feel that Sun Shangxiang's strength was not to be underestimated. He could not help but say anxiously, "Attack together. She is very strong." Hearing the demon emperor's words, the 2 demon emperors' faces changed. They did not expect the demon emperor to say this. Similarly, they did not expect Sun Shangxiang to be so strong. The remaining two demon emperors looked at each other and did not attack Sun Shangxiang. As the saying goes, to catch bandits, first catch the ringleader. These two demon emperors were not stupid. They could also see that Sun Shangxiang was not easy to deal with. Even if they attacked together, they might not be able to do much to Sun Shangxiang. In the end, they might all die in the hands of Sun Shangxiang. But if they attacked Yi Hao and Emperor Tianyuan, it would be a different story. They knew that Emperor Tianyuan was a cripple and did not have any cultivation. Therefore, they did not need to take Emperor Tianyuan seriously. Therefore, the battle they were going to fight was naturally Yi Hao. Moreover, they did not believe that Yi Hao had the strength of Sun Shangxiang. The demon emperor who was fighting Sun Shangxiang could not help but feel his face change. He did not expect that the two demon emperors would abandon him and attack Yi Hao. Damn it! The demon emperor tried his best to dodge Sun Shangxiang's attack. He could not help but curse. Do the two of you want me to die? Why aren't you capturing those two dogs? Kid, if you know what's good for you, just surrender. That's right. If you surrender, you can avoid some pain. Chapter 9:16. 1. Surrender. Seeing the two demon emperors approaching, Yi Hao couldn't help but chuckle when he heard the demon emperor's words. Explode. Yi Hao grabbed a handful of spirit stones and threw them at the two demon emperors. Heavenly Een Spirit. 10,000 B spiritual fire, come out. Yi Hao summoned the Heavenly Een Spirit and 10,000 B spiritual fire and threw them at the two demon emperors. Rumble. Suddenly, the spirit stones exploded. Damn it! The two demon emperors roared. They didn't dare to resist the force of the spirit stones' explosion and could only retreat. Let's go. Yi Hao didn't plan to use the spirit stones to injure the two demon emperors. He only wanted to force the two demon emperors to retreat. Seeing the two demon emperors retreat, his goal was achieved. Yi Hao immediately grabbed Emperor Tianyuan and retreated. Not good, don't let that kid escape. After the two demon emperors dodged the spirit stone's explosion, they immediately understood Yi Hao's intention. The two demon emperors shouted anxiously and were about to grab Yi Hao. Boom! Suddenly, the 10,000 B spiritual fire exploded and smashed onto one of the demon emperors. Damn it, it's actually a heavenly fire. Looking at the burning flame on his body, the demon emperor couldn't help but roar. As for the other demon emperor, his path was also blocked by the Heavenly Een Spirit. What the hell is this? The other demon emperor looked at the Heavenly Een Spirit in front of him and couldn't help but reveal an anxious expression. He didn't put the Heavenly Een Spirit in his eyes, but who knew that after fighting with the Heavenly Een Spirit, he would discover that the Heavenly Een Spirit actually had the strength of a demon emperor. Although he could see that the Heavenly Een Spirit's strength was much weaker than his, it was obviously impossible for him to kill the Heavenly Een Spirit in a short period of time. Therefore, he only wanted to force the Heavenly Een Spirit to retreat and capture Yi Hao first. The other demon emperor was also desperately trying to extinguish the flame on his body. Looks like this 10,000 B spiritual fire can't threaten the life of a demon emperor. Yi Hao looked at the demon emperor and was almost about to extinguish the 10,000 beast spiritual fire on his body. He knew that this was related to the might of the 10,000 B spirit fire, as well as his own cultivation. If he reached the level of a demon honorable or a demon emperor, the power of the 10,000 B spirit fire would naturally be incomparable to the current 10,000 B spirit fire. However, with his current cultivation level, being able to control the 10,000 B spirit fire and stop the demon emperor for so long was already considered very good. Yi Hao looked in the direction of Sun Shangxiang. When Sun Shangxiang saw that Yi Hao was in danger, he became extremely anxious. He furiously attacked the demon sovereign in front of him. The berserk power on Sun Shangxiang's body almost suppressed that demon emperor to kneel on the ground. Die for me, Sun Shangxiang shouted. The long sword in her hand emitted a cold light as it pierced towards the demon emperor's head. No! Looking at Sun Shangxiang, who was getting closer and closer to him, especially that cold sword, he felt the aura of death. He did not doubt that if he was pierced by Sun Shangxiang's long sword, he would definitely die. The Demon Emperor let out an unwilling roar, but he could not resist Sun Shangxiang's desire to kill him. Puchi! Sun Shangxiang's long sword directly pierced through his head. You dare to hurt my lord, die for me. After Sun Shangxiang killed this Demon Emperor, he did not waste any time and immediately looked at the other two Demon Emperors. The two Demon Emperors' faces suddenly changed. They did not expect that Sun Shangxiang would actually finish off a Demon Emperor so quickly. Not good. Run. The two Demon Emperors looked at each other. They knew that they were not a match for Sun Shangxiang and immediately began to run. Want to run? Do you think you can run? Seeing the two Demon Emperors running away, Sun Shangxiang sneered. Sun Shangxiang suddenly took out a bow from his back and knocked an arrow on the bow in one breath. Whoosh! Immediately, the bow and arrow flew out, bringing with it the sound of tearing through the air. The arrow carried a powerful force, as if it was going to shoot through the sun and moon. It shot towards the back of one of the Demon Emperors. And Sun Shangxiang also expected that the Demon Emperor would definitely dodge and shot out several arrows again. No! That Demon Emperor heard the voice behind him and immediately felt the threatening aura. The Demon Emperor wanted to dodge very much, but he discovered that he had nowhere to hide at all. With a Puchi, an arrow pierced through the Demon Emperor's chest. The Demon Emperor's body immediately stiffened and no longer ran. But the remaining arrows accurately passed through the Demon Emperor's back. With a thud, the Demon Emperor was deader than dead, his entire body smashed onto the ground. And you still can't escape. After killing this Demon Emperor, Sun Shangxiang immediately placed his attention on the last Demon Emperor, only to see Sun Shangxiang leaped and directly chased after the remaining Demon Emperor. And the remaining Demon Emperor even had the heart to cry at this moment, because he wanted to escape, but he was firmly held back by the heavenly Yin spirit. Seeing Sun Shangxiang chasing after him, he was extremely anxious. Don't kill me. Spare my life. The remaining Demon Emperor saw that all his companions had died in the hands of Sun Shangxiang and could not hold on any longer, directly kneeling on the ground. Sun Shangxiang glanced at Yi Hao and realized that Yi Hao did not say anything. He directly pierced through the Demon Emperor's head with his sword. You? The Demon Emperor's face was filled with unwillingness as he directly fell to the ground. After killing the 4 Demon Emperors, Sun Shangxiang walked in front of Yi Hao and said respectfully, My lord, your subordinate is fortunate to have not let you down. Yi Hao nodded with satisfaction. You did well. Thank you, my lord. If it wasn't for your help, I would have been finished today. Emperor Tanyuan looked at Sun Shangxiang and thanked him sincerely. I was only following my lord's orders. Sun Shangxiang did not even look at Emperor Tianyuan as he said coldly. Hearing Sun Shangxiang's words, Emperor Tianyuan did not feel awkward. Instead, he looked at Yi Hao and said, Yi Hao, it's all thanks to you this time. I want to know where's Huang Zhong. Yi Hao looked at Emperor Tianyuan in confusion. Logically speaking, if Huang Zhong was here, no matter what, this definitely would not have happened. Because if he had come a little later, Emperor Tianyuan probably would not be standing here now. Hearing Yi Hao's question, Emperor Tianyuan's face showed a hint of awkwardness. Sai, this is all my fault. Emperor Tianyuan sighed and explained what had happened. Emperor Tianyuan was afraid that Yi Hao would punish Huang Zhong because of this matter, so he couldn't help but speak up for Huang Zhong. Don't blame Lord Huang Zhong for this matter. It was I who begged him, so he did that. Oh no, Huang Zhong is in danger. Yi Hao immediately frowned after hearing Emperor Tianyuan's words. What? Lord Huang Zhong is in danger? Emperor Tianyuan was stunned when he heard Yi Hao's words. Then, an anxious expression appeared on his face. Chapter 9:17. What? Besieged by millions of people. Emperor Tianyuan sucked in a breath of cold air when he heard Zhang Ninwei's words. Because if that was the case, then even if Huang Zhong was a 10th Order Demon Emperor, he would still be in danger. Shangxiang, let's go, Yi Hao said to Sun Shangxiang when he heard Zhang Ninwei's words. There are too many enemies. I'll lead the troops to help you. Emperor Tianyuan quickly said. That's fine too. Yi Hao nodded and did not reject Emperor Tianyuan. After all, he only had Sun Shangxiang by his side at this moment. It was almost impossible to save Huang Zhong from millions of soldiers. If he had the help of the Tianyuan kingdom's army, it would undoubtedly be much easier. Oh no, I can't continue like this. If it continues like this, I will fall here. At this moment, below Huang Zhong's feet, there was already a river of blood and corpses everywhere. The number of soldiers he had killed had already exceeded 40 to 50,000 people. One had to know that he alone had killed 40 to 50,000 soldiers. It was enough to shock anyone. However, the 40 to 50,000 soldiers he had killed were not worth mentioning compared to the Broken Dynasty's army. At this moment, Huang Zhong couldn't help but feel anxious. Although he was constantly killing people, he also knew his weakness. If he continued to kill, his physical strength would be exhausted sooner or later. If his physical strength was exhausted, then he would be doomed. After all, if he exhausted his physical strength, he would have to face millions of soldiers. At this moment, Huang Zhong felt that his physical strength was starting to become a little lacking. Huang Zhong's state was naturally noticed by the Broken Dynasty's people who were secretly observing him. At this moment, he couldn't help but laugh heartily and said, Soldiers, he can't hold on any longer. Do your best. As long as you kill him, you'll be the Tianyuan kingdom's heroes. After you kill him, I will definitely ask His Majesty for a reward for you. The voice sounded, encouraging the soldiers of the Broken Dynasty. Kill. The soldiers of the Broken Dynasty shouted excitedly when they heard this voice. Huang Zhong's expression changed slightly, but there was nothing he could do. He could only continue to hold his weapon and continue to fight. However, the soldiers of the Broken Dynasty acted as though there was no disparity between them and Huang Zhong. Haha, a peak demon emperor is about to die in my hands. This is too exciting. The person who was commanding the 2 million soldiers and hiding in the dark couldn't help but think excitedly at this moment. You're laughing very happily, aren't you? Suddenly, a young man's voice rang in his ears. Hearing this voice, his heart suddenly tensed up, and he immediately looked to his side. A young man and a woman appeared beside him. Who are you? Li Ren looked at Yi Hao warily and asked. The person who will kill you. Yi Hao directly grabbed Li Ren. He discovered that Li Ren was only a Devil King martial artist, yet he was able to command an army of 2 million soldiers. It could be said that Li Ren was definitely extraordinary in his own way. If you don't want to die, then let him go. Yi Hao threatened as he looked at Li Ren in his hands. Humph! Li Ren sneered, immediately understanding Yi Hao's intentions. Even if you kill me, I won't let him go. Then go to hell, Yi Hao said as he started to exert force on Li Ren's neck. Li Ren's eyes were filled with disbelief. He had originally thought that Yi Hao would threaten him, but he hadn't expected that Yi Hao would kill him just like that. I'll talk. Li Ren struggled for a moment before opening his mouth. Upon hearing Li Ren say this, Yi Hao let go of his hand. Who knew that after Yi Hao let go of Li Ren, he would directly shout at Yi Hao and Sun Shangxiang. Soldiers, kill these two for me. Li Ren's shout immediately attracted the attention of countless soldiers. You're courting death. Yi Hao's eyes widened as he threw out a punch. Bang! Li Ren was directly sent flying. His internal organs were shattered, and he couldn't be more dead. Yi Hao definitely wouldn't allow himself and Sun Shangxiang to be surrounded and in danger. He immediately said, Retreat first. After Yi Hao finished speaking, he quickly retreated with Sun Shangxiang. Kill. They killed Lord Li Ren. We definitely can't let them escape. Quick, surround the two of them. The soldiers of the Broken Dynasty roared in anger. Yi Hao looked at his pursuers and estimated that it would take a while for the Tianyuan kingdom's soldiers to catch up with him. 10,000 beast spiritual fire, burn for me. Yi Hao immediately activated the 10,000 beast spiritual fire and smashed it towards the soldiers behind him. Boom! Suddenly, A flame soared into the sky and burned. These soldiers couldn't be compared to the demon emperor experts. Many of them were burned to ashes in a few seconds. Heavenly Yin Spirit, it's time for you to perform. Immediately, Yi Hao summoned the Heavenly Yin Spirit. One must know that the Heavenly Yin Spirit loved to kill. This kind of battlefield should be the place where the Heavenly Yin Spirit could display its strength. After the Heavenly Yin Spirit appeared, dozens of demonic beast phantoms suddenly appeared on the spot, exuding a murderous aura. Heavenly Yin Battle Beast. Seeing these demonic beast phantoms, Yi Hao's face lit up. He didn't expect that the Heavenly Yin Spirit would summon the Heavenly Yin Battle Beast at this time. One must know that the Heavenly Yin Spirit had summoned the Heavenly Yin Battle Beast in the Myriad Kingdom continent. However, the Heavenly Yin Spirit had fallen into a deep sleep. In the ancient demon domain, this was the first time the Heavenly Yin Spirit had summoned the Heavenly Yin Battle Beast. After the Heavenly Yin Battle Beast appeared, it began to madly attack the soldiers of Broken Dynasty. The ferocious Heavenly Yin Battle Beast entered an unstoppable state. Demonic trees, come out! Yi Hao waved his hand and summoned hundreds of demonic trees. Although the demonic trees had no attacking power, they could make a good defensive wall. Moreover, the corpses on the battlefield were good nourishment for the demonic trees' growth. Yi Hao watched the Heavenly Yin Battle Beast kill in all directions. For a moment, his heart itched, and he couldn't help but take out his weapon. Kill! Yi Hao swept out his sword, and instantly several soldiers of Broken Dynasty died. Ding dong! Congratulations to the host for killing a demon general. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 100 experience points. Ding dong! Congratulations to the host for killing a demon guard. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 20 experience points. Ding dong! Congratulations to the host for killing a demon general. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 100 experience points. In Yi Hao's mind, the system's notifications kept ringing. However, because the strength of the soldiers was generally low, he couldn't obtain much experience points at all. Slowly, Yi Hao became tired from killing and couldn't help but take out the spiritual stones. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Yi Hao constantly took out spiritual stones and threw them out. Chapter 9:18. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for killing a demon general. Congratulations to the host for gaining 100 experience points. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for killing a demon guard. Congratulations to the host for gaining 20 experience points. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for killing a demon general. Congratulations to the host for gaining 100 experience points. Suddenly, in Yi Hao's mind, the system's notification sound came like a tsunami. Awesome! Although the experience was little, it couldn't be compared to the quantity. Yi Hao couldn't help but laugh excitedly because he hadn't felt so refreshed in a long time. The system's experience in his mind and the crazy notification sound had a kind of motivation that made his blood boil. Explode for me. Yi Hao was in the mood to kill, and he kept taking out spirit stones and throwing them out. Every time he threw out a spirit stone, there would be a group of enemy soldiers dying. For a moment, the movement made by Yi Hao completely overshadowed the movement made by Huang Zhong and Sun Shangxiang. It was impossible not to attract the attention of the deafening explosion. Moreover, the power of the spirit stone explosion was simply too great, and because there were too many soldiers in the Broken Dynasty, there was no one to command them. Therefore, those soldiers were obviously in disarray, and when they were hit by Yi Hao's spirit stones, there was simply no way to escape. Although Huang Zhong and Sun Shangxiang were demon emperors, their attacks were also much more powerful than Yi Hao's spirit stone explosion. But they couldn't withstand the number of spirit stones that Yi Hao threw out at one time, covering a wide area. Therefore, the speed at which Yi Hao killed people was much more terrifying than Sun Shangxiang and Huang Zhong, the two 10th Order Demon Emperors. Of course, the attack power of the Sky Yin beasts couldn't be underestimated because the strength of these battle beasts was actually at the demon venerable level. Naturally, it wasn't something that the soldiers of the Broken Dynasty could deal with. Therefore, the number of Skyene beasts killed was almost comparable to Yi Hao's. It was inevitable that the number of Skyene beasts was there. Most importantly, Yi Hao discovered that the number of Skyene beasts was still increasing. Heavenly spirits are indeed born for slaughter. Yi Hao couldn't help but think, because the way to strengthen a heavenly spirit was through slaughter. The heavenly spirit could absorb the soul and strength of the person it killed to increase its own strength. The more powerful the heavenly spirit was, the more powerful the heavenly battle beasts it could summon would be. The number of heavenly battle beasts would also increase. But no matter what, no one present could compare to Yi Hao. Even the soldiers of the Broken Dynasty looked at Yi Hao with fear in their eyes. It was as if they were looking at the Grim Reaper when they saw Yi Hao. Therefore, when the disciples of the Broken Dynasty saw Yi Hao, they began to flee. However, their strength was no match for Yi Hao. How could they outrun Yi Hao? Therefore, as long as Yi Hao caught up to them, they would give him a spirit stone as a reward. Therefore, a comical scene appeared. For example, Huang Zhong and Sun Shangxiang. Although they were 10th Order Demon Emperors, their strength was terrifying and incomparably powerful. But the soldiers of the Broken Dynasty still dared to go up and fight with their lives. But it was different on Yi Hao's side. Close to 100 meters around him was completely empty. No soldiers dared to step in. Every one of them wanted to avoid Yi Hao as if he was the plague. Who would dare to approach Yi Hao? Lord is too abnormal. Huang Zhong couldn't help but look at Yi Hao in astonishment. He discovered that he, a 10th Order Demon Emperor, couldn't compare to Yi Hao's killing speed. Sun Shangxiang looked at Yi Hao's attacking methods and killing speed and couldn't help but admire Yi Hao. But she was more curious about how Yi Hao did it. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for killing a demon guard. Congratulations to the host for gaining 10 experience points. Ding dong, congratulations to the host for killing a demon guard. Congratulations to the host for gaining 20 experience points. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for killing a demon general. Congratulations to the host for gaining 100 experience points. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for leveling up. Current level: 8th Order Demon Emperor. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for killing a demon guard. Congratulations to the host for gaining 10 experience points. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for killing a demon guard. Congratulations to the host for gaining 20 experience points. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for killing a demon general. Congratulations to the host for gaining 100 experience points. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for leveling up. Current level: 9th Order Demon Emperor. Haha, leveling up is really good. Yi Hao felt that his almost exhausted strength was restored again. Moreover, his strength had increased a lot compared to before. Yi Hao looked at the fleeing soldiers of the Broken Dynasty, and his eyes couldn't help but shine. These were all experience points. Since they were enemies, Yi Hao naturally wouldn't be lenient. Explode all of them for me, and turn them into my experience points. Yi Hao looked at the soldiers of the Broken Dynasty and threw out some spirit stones again. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for killing a demon general. Congratulations to the host for gaining 100 experience points. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for killing a demon general. Congratulations to the host for gaining 100 experience points. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for killing a demon guard. Congratulations to the host for gaining 10 experience points. The moment the spirit stones exploded, a series of system prompts sounded in Yi Hao's mind again. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for gaining a Demon Emperor leveling pill. What? When Yi Hao heard the system prompt, he was stunned at first, then he was delighted. Because he had been killing enemies for a long time and hadn't dropped anything. He didn't expect that killing these soldiers would actually drop something. And the thing that dropped was actually a Demon Emperor leveling pill. This was definitely an unexpected surprise. This made Yi Hao suddenly full of motivation. Unknowingly, it was already late and the ground was full of broken limbs. But there were continuous violent explosions. The powerful spiritual power raged and constantly swallowed the soldiers of the broken dynasty. As if because of the slaughter, the moonlight became a lot dimmer. By the end of the day, more than 200,000 soldiers had been killed by Yi Hao and the others. This number was absolutely terrifying. But Yi Hao and the others really did it. Especially Yi Hao's spirit stone's explosion and the Sky Een battle beasts. They were simply killing machines. At this moment, the strength of the Sky Een spirit had reached the Fourth Order Demon Emperor. The number of Sky Een battle beasts under the Sky Een spirit had also reached more than 200. Many of the devil trees had also grown to hundreds of meters tall. The defensive power of the devil trees had also increased to the 6th or 7th Order Demon Venerable. The devil trees were constantly moving on the battlefield, absorbing the blood of the corpses. Although the devil trees couldn't attack, they were constantly moving on the battlefield, bringing great pressure to the soldiers of the broken dynasty. Sun Shangxiang and Huang Zhong saw this scene and became more and more shocked. Chapter 919. However, compared to themselves, Yi Hao and the Heavenly Een Spirit were much better. Sun Shangxiang and Huang Zhong discovered that the more Yi Hao and the Heavenly Een Spirit killed, the more excited they became. The more they killed, the stronger they became. Therefore, this also caused all of the broken dynasty soldiers to stay far away from Yi Hao and the Heavenly Een Spirit. Most of the soldiers attacked Sun Shangxiang and Huang Zhong. This also caused Sun Shangxiang and Huang Zhong, the two strongest people, to feel more and more pressure. Because even though they killed a lot of people, they couldn't handle the number of people left. Therefore, Sun Shangxiang and Huang Zhong felt that their bodies couldn't take it anymore. Because they killed so many enemies, they couldn't find the time to rest. Even if they were demon emperors, they knew that if they continued to endure, they would also encounter danger. Brothers, if you want to live, you have to defeat this woman first. Someone shouted. Countless soldiers besieged Sun Shangxiang again, courting death. Looking at the soldiers who attacked without regard for their lives, Sun Shangxiang couldn't help but snort coldly. Huang Zhong's situation wasn't any better than Sun Shangxiang's. Although the soldiers of the broken dynasty were scared of Yi Hao, they still had a total of 78 million soldiers left. Although Sun Shangxiang and Huang Zhong felt more and more pressure, they gritted their teeth and persevered. Because they were 10th Order Demon Emperors, they couldn't open their mouths to seek help from Yi Hao. The Tianyuan army has arrived, kill. At this time, a loud roar sounded. Then, they saw a large army charging towards them. They're finally here. Seeing this scene, Sun Shangxiang couldn't help but smile. When the Tianyuan Kingdom's army appeared, they instantly attacked the soldiers of the broken dynasty. Oh no! Why is the Tianyuan Kingdom's army here? Looks like this number isn't a small number. They're so fast. Damn it, the people of the Tianyuan Kingdom actually came at the crucial moment. Seeing the sudden appearance of the army, countless broken dynasty soldiers panicked. Most of them were generals who were unwilling to accept this outcome, because they had already exhausted Sun Shangxiang and Huang Zhong by controlling the soldiers. In their opinion, as long as they could hold on a little longer, they would definitely be able to kill the two of them. If they could really kill Sun Shangxiang and Huang Zhong, these two 10th Order Demon Emperors, then even if the number of soldiers they lost today was doubled, it wouldn't be considered a loss. After all, even the entire Duan dynasty did not have a single 10th Order Demon Emperor. So even if they had to pay a high price, as long as they could kill this person, then Broken Dynasty would have profited. However, at this crucial moment, the people of the Tianyuan Kingdom had arrived. Naturally, this made them very unhappy. When Emperor Tianyuan saw the scene in front of him, he was really shocked. How did this kid do it? Emperor Tianyuan looked at the hundreds of thousands of corpses on the battlefield and couldn't help but exclaim in shock. Emperor Tianyuan looked at Yi Hao, who was slaughtering in all directions on the battlefield. Countless soldiers of the Broken Dynasty saw Yi Hao and fled as if they had seen a devil. Wherever Yi Hao went, there would be violent explosions, and, at the same time, a large number of soldiers of the Broken Dynasty would die. Emperor Tianyuan couldn't help but be curious. How did Yi Hao cause such a huge explosion? Moreover, it was able to cause such a huge impact. Emperor Tianyuan was an expert in the past, although his cultivation was destroyed now. Looking at the power of the explosion of the spirit stones, he couldn't help but wonder. He felt that even an archdevil venerable expert wouldn't have a good ending under the explosion of the spirit stones. And at this moment, the two armies collided. The battle cries on the battlefield soared into the sky. And with the army of the Tianyuan kingdom, Sun Shangxiang and Huang Zhong could finally breathe a sigh of relief. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for killing a demon guard. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 10 experience points. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for killing a demon guard. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 20 experience points. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for killing a demon general. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 100 experience points. When Emperor Tianyuan led his army over, Yi Hao naturally saw it. This allowed him to focus wholeheartedly on killing the soldiers of the Duan dynasty to gain experience. Ding dong. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a Demon Emperor level-up pill. The battle continued until noon of the second day. The soldiers of the Tianyuan kingdom were exhausted and couldn't hold on any longer. Only then did they begin to withdraw. And when the soldiers of the Broken Dynasty saw the soldiers of the Tianyuan kingdom withdraw, they all breathed a sigh of relief. And when the soldiers of the Broken Dynasty saw the soldiers of the Tianyuan kingdom withdraw, they also began to withdraw and frantically left. When Yi Hao saw the soldiers of the Broken Dynasty withdraw, he finally stopped. This was because at this moment his strength was almost exhausted and he couldn't activate the Spirit Stone explosion anymore. Moreover, the long period of killing also made him extremely tired. "Are you all right?" Emperor Tianyuan looked at Yi Hao and asked worriedly. Yi Hao shook his head. Other than the fact that his strength was exhausted, he didn't have any problems. Otherwise, he could still continue to kill. Yi Hao looked at Huang Zhong. "Huang Zhong, do you know your crime?" Seeing Yi Hao's gaze, Huang Zhong hurriedly knelt and said, "This subordinate knows his mistake. Please punish me, my lord." Huang Zhong naturally knew what Yi Hao was talking about. One had to know that the order Yi Hao gave him was to protect Emperor Tianyuan and not leave Emperor Tianyuan's side. But he heard Emperor Tianyuan's words and came here. Not only was he in danger, but he was also lured away by the enemy's plan. If not for Yi Hao's timely appearance, Emperor Tianyuan would probably be dead. Yi Hao this. When Emperor Tianyuan saw this scene, he couldn't help but want to speak up for Huang Zhong. "Thank you, Your Majesty Tianyuan, for your concern. This matter is indeed Huang Zhong's fault. Your Majesty Tianyuan, please don't interfere." Huang Zhong's tone was firm. At the same time, he looked at Yi Hao. "Please punish me, my lord." Yi Hao looked at Huang Zhong and said, "You disobeyed my orders and should be severely punished. Since His Majesty Tianyuan has pleaded for you, and this is your first offense, I will temporarily record this punishment. If this happens again in the future, you will be severely punished." "Thank you, my lord." When Huang Zhong heard Yi Hao's words, he couldn't help but express his heartfelt gratitude. Phew! When Emperor Tianyuan heard Yi Hao's words, he couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Because if Huang Zhong was punished by Yi Hao because of him, he wouldn't be able to bear it. "Reporting to Your Majesty, Minister Long and the others have arrived." At this moment, a guard came over to report. "They're finally here." When Emperor Tianyuan heard the guard's words, his face instantly turned ashen. Let's go and meet our 3 ministers," Emperor Tianyuan said to Yi Hao. Chapter 9:20. There's no need to see them first. Let's go eat first. Yi Hao pulled Emperor Tianyuan and said. Hearing Yi Hao say this, Emperor Tianyuan immediately understood what Yi Hao meant. Following Emperor Tianyuan's order, all the soldiers immediately began to light a fire and cook. One by one began to restore their strength. After drinking and eating, it's time to go to bed. Yi Hao looked at Emperor Tianyuan and said, Hearing Yi Hao's words, Emperor Tianyuan couldn't help but be stunned. He knew what Yi Hao meant, which was to leave the three division masters hanging. He thought that, after eating a meal, the nearly half an hour delay was almost enough. But he didn't expect that this was not the end. Yi Hao actually wanted to sleep. "I'm afraid that they will do something desperate, or leave in anger." Emperor Tianyuan expressed the worry in his heart. "I can't wait for them to leave in anger," Yi Hao said with a smile. "If they dare to leave, it will give me a chance to attack them." Hearing Yi Hao's words, Emperor Tianyuan nodded thoughtfully. And Yi Hao naturally had some understanding of the three division masters. Each of them had their own troops and were self-confident in their strength. They had long been disloyal to the Tianyuan kingdom. So this was also why Yi Hao expected that the three division masters would not send troops, because the three division masters would inevitably not send troops to support Emperor Tianyuan for their own interests and safety. If he wanted the three division masters to obediently send troops to support him, the only way to make them listen was to bring out enough strength or absolute benefits. So when Emperor Tianyuan listened to Yi Hao and sent the heads of the three demon emperors to the three division masters, the three division masters were scared and immediately sent troops. And what Yi Hao wanted was not the three division masters. After all, he was not bad, 3 second and third order demon emperors. What he wanted was the millions of troops under the three division heads. The reason why he left the three department heads hanging was to see what they would choose. If the three department heads stayed here obediently, they might be spared. However, if the three department heads really left, he would not be courteous. It's up to you to decide. Emperor Tianyuan didn't object to Yi Hao's decision. In his opinion, Tianyuan kingdom would be handed over to Yi Hao sooner or later, so he might as well hand it over to Yi Hao now. Moreover, he was also very dissatisfied with the three department heads. As the emperor of the Tianyuan kingdom, he was naturally aware of the tricks of the three ministers. Previously, he had sent out so many urgent documents requesting the three divisions to send out troops. However, the heads of the three departments were actually ignoring him. How could he not be furious? Although the masters of the three divisions had sent troops over, he knew very well why they had done so. If it weren't for the three demon emperors that Huang Zhong had killed, the heads of the three divisions would probably still ignore his orders. Moreover, the heads of the three divisions were not afraid of him, but Huang Zhong, who was behind him. Huang Zhong was Yi Hao's subordinate, so he believed that Yi Hao would be able to handle this matter. "Then let's go and rest first," Yi Hao said with a smile when he saw that Emperor Tianyuan did not object to his decision. At this moment, 3 people were sitting in a luxurious military tent. These 3 people were naturally the heads of the 3 divisions, the most powerful people in the Tianyuan kingdom. In the Tianyuan kingdom, apart from Emperor Tianyuan, these 3 people had the most power. At this moment, the 3 of them were restless, and their faces were filled with anxiety and dissatisfaction. "What's going on? Why isn't His Majesty here yet?" Division Chief Long asked anxiously. "Didn't you say that His Majesty is having his meal? Why is he taking so long?" Division Chief South Hill said with dissatisfaction. "Guards, where's His Majesty? When is he coming?" Division Chief Wu couldn't wait any longer, so he shouted. However, not a single guard came in, and not a single guard paid any attention to them. What is the meaning of this? Division Chief Wu was furious when he saw that no one paid any attention to him, so he walked out of the tent. However, when he looked outside the tent, he was even more furious. There was not a single person outside the tent. Preposterous, preposterous. Division Chief Wu was even more furious. Division Chief Long and Division Chief South also walked out of the tent. When they saw that the tent was empty, they were also furious. No matter what, we are still the heads of the 3 divisions. We personally led our troops here, but we're being treated like this. This is too much. I'm not going to play with him anymore. Division Chief Wu had the worst temper. He couldn't accept it at all, so he flung his sleeves and left. When Division Chief Long and Division Chief South saw Division Chief Wu leaving, they wanted to leave as well. However, in the end, even though they were furious, they didn't leave. Reporting Division Chief Wu has left in a rage, Sun Shangxiang reported as he stood beside Yi Hao. Bring me his head. Everyone is not stupid. Anyone who disobeys will be killed without mercy. Yi Hao said from his bed without even opening his eyes. After saying that, Yi Hao turned over as if he had fallen asleep again. Sun Shangxiang didn't fly back. Instead, he quickly left Yi Hao's tent. Division Chief, what's going on? Why do you look unhappy? Division Chief Wu returned to his camp angrily. A general immediately came forward and asked with concern, Emperor Tianyuan is too much. How dare he make a fool out of me? Division Chief Wu said unhappily as he looked at the general. How dare Emperor Tianyuan make a fool out of you, Division Chief Wu? The general looked at Division Chief Wu in confusion. Oomph. The Heavenly Yuan Emperor actually made me wait for a few hours in that tent, yet I still didn't see him, snorted Chief Wusi. He really thinks that I'm easy to bully. I came to his aid out of goodwill, but he didn't appreciate it. Then why are we still here? The general roughly understood what was going on when he heard Division Chief Wu's words. The general couldn't help but feel indignant. Emperor Tianyuan is indeed too much. Does he think that the Tianyuan kingdom is still the Tianyuan kingdom of the past? How dare a defeated royal family treat you like this? It's not wrong for Division Chief Wu to leave. Division Chief Wu nodded in satisfaction when he heard the general's words. Gather the army and prepare to set off. Let's go back. The general was stunned when he heard that Division Chief Wu wanted to go back. He hadn't expected that Division Chief would actually want to go back directly. However, he also knew that given Division Chief Wu's temper, there was no way he could persuade him otherwise. Thus, he could only go along with Division Chief Wu's wishes. Division Chief, I'll give the order right away. Chapter 921. Who are you? Hearing the source of the voice, Master Wu couldn't help but frown. He saw Sun Shangxiang, who was dressed in martial arts clothes and holding a soft sword, looking at him with a cold smile. Master, be careful. The general looked at Sun Shangxiang carefully. It's fine. Why would I care about a little girl? Master Wu waved his hand and said indifferently. It was just as he said. He didn't care about Sun Shangxiang at all. Little girl? It's enough to kill you. Sun Shangxiang snorted coldly. Then his body moved and the long sword in his hand moved. He attacked towards Master Wu. Seeing that Sun Shangxiang dared to make the first move, Master Wu was furious. Lord Wuxi was infuriated and wanted to retaliate. But when he saw Sun Shangxiang's speed, his expression changed and he hurriedly dodged. The long sword in Sun Shangxiang's hand directly slashed past his ear. But Sun Shangxiang's speed changed abnormally fast. The long sword changed direction and slashed towards Master Wu's neck. No! Master Wu cried out in horror, his face full of unwillingness. But his terrified cry couldn't stop Sun Shangxiang's attack. Puchi! A sharp sword light. It instantly slashed across Master Wu's neck, and his head fell to the ground. After killing Lord Wuxi, Sun Shangxiang's cold gaze landed on Jianglai. The general panicked when he saw Sun Shangxiang's gaze. He then looked at the decapitated Master Wu on the ground. The general couldn't hold on any longer. With a plop, he knelt on the ground. Master, please spare my life. Master, please spare my life. Do you want to live? Carry the corpse and head and follow me. Sun Shangxiang glanced at the general and then turned to leave. The general looked at Sun Shangxiang and hesitated for a moment. He immediately grabbed Master Wu's corpse and chased after him. My lord, this subordinate did not disappoint you and has killed Lord Wuxi. Sun Shangxiang brought his generals to Yi Hao. The general glanced at Yi Hao cautiously and was stunned. Who is he? The general was puzzled. He originally thought that Sun Shangxiang would be Emperor Tianyuan's subordinate, but looking at Yi Hao, it was obvious that he wasn't Emperor Tianyuan. Hence, the general was very curious about Yi Hao's identity. Who is he? Yi Hao sat up from the bed and asked the general. The Lord is asking you a question. Hurry up and answer it. Sun Shangxiang glanced at the general and shouted coldly. Hearing Sun Shangxiang's cold shout, The general's body involuntarily trembled. Thinking of Sun Shangxiang's strength, she felt terror and fear. "My lord, this lowly one is called Wu Qi." Wu Qi looked at Yi Hao and answered carefully. "You are Wu Qi?" Yi Hao couldn't help but look at Wu Qi after hearing his name. "My lord, you know me?" Wu Qi looked nervously at Yi Hao. Wu Qi's original name was Sun Qi. Later on, he became Lord Wu Xi's confidant and was given the name Wu Qi. However, Lord Wu Xi didn't know that his confidant general had an irreconcilable enmity with him because Lord Wu Xi took Wu Qi's lover. Yi Hao slowly said, "How did you know?" Wu Qi's expression changed drastically after hearing Yi Hao's words. This was because many people knew that he had changed his surname. However, even Lord Wu Xi himself didn't know that his lover was taken away by Lord Wu Xi. Moreover, he had been hiding this matter very well. He didn't understand how Yi Hao knew. Sun Shangxiang couldn't help but look at Yi Hao in astonishment. He didn't understand how Yi Hao knew about Wu Qi's identity. It's actually true. Yi Hao couldn't help but laugh inwardly when he saw Wu Qi's expression. This was because he wasn't sure whether it was true that Wu Qi's lover was taken away by Lord Wu Xi. He only knew about Wu Qi's identity because he had specially asked Zhao Ling to send people to gather information about the three lords of the Tianyuan royal palace. This was because Yi Hao knew that controlling the three lords of the Tianyuan royal palace was crucial if he wanted to control the Tianyuan royal palace. The information that Zhao Ling had gathered was very comprehensive and naturally included information about the subordinates of the three lords of the Tianyuan royal palace. Naturally, he had memorized all the information about these people. This included information about Wu Qi. Because Wu Qi had changed his surname and was Lord Wu Xi's confidant general, Yi Hao had paid more attention to him. There is also a vague mention that Wu Qi had a lover before he followed Lord Wu Xi. As for where Wu Qi's lover had gone, the information didn't reveal anything. However, Yi Hao discovered that one of Lord Wu Xi's concubines was somewhat similar to Wu Qi's lover. The information also introduced that Wu Qi and Lord Wu Xi's concubine seemed to have a very close relationship in private. Yi Hao couldn't help but wonder if the two women were the same person. He didn't expect that he would be right. "You don't have to ask me how I know about you. I just want to know if you want to live. Do you want to be with the person you love?" Yi Hao asked Wu Qi. "Yes," Wu Qi answered without hesitation. His voice was filled with determination. "Then I'll give you a chance to pledge your loyalty to me. I want to know who you are." "Who are you?" Wu Qi stared at Yi Hao and asked. "I'm currently the third prince consort of the Tianyuan royal palace," Yi Hao answered honestly. "Hiss." Wu Qi couldn't help but gasp when he heard Yi Hao's words. He was currently the third prince consort of the Tianyuan royal palace? What about in the future? Wu Qi couldn't help but stare at Yi Hao in shock because he thought of a terrifying possibility. Yi Hao might try to usurp the throne. "Don't think too much. I won't try to usurp the throne. I just want you to consider whether to pledge your allegiance to me." "You don't have to think about anything else," Yi Hao said as he knew what Wu Qi was thinking. "I'll pledge my allegiance to you." Wu Qi had no choice but to answer. "Don't be hasty. If you pledge your allegiance to me, you have to be loyal. Otherwise, you know the consequences." After Yi Hao finished speaking, Sun Shangxiang released his cultivation aura and suppressed Wu Qi. Wu Qi knelt on the ground and nodded fearfully when he felt Sun Shangxiang's powerful aura. Yi Hao believed that as long as Sun Shangxiang was around, Wu Qi wouldn't dare to do anything rash. "Hey, the two of you haven't left yet." Just as Chief Long and Chief Nin couldn't wait any longer, they suddenly heard Yi Hao's voice outside the tent. Then they saw Yi Hao walking in. Chief Long frowned when he saw Yi Hao. "Who are you? How dare you? Do you know who we are? How dare you barge in? Get out if you don't want to die." Chief Nin didn't hold back and shouted in dissatisfaction. Chapter 922. Gift? What gift? Where is His Majesty? Did His Majesty send you here to make fun of us? Chief Long and Chief Nan had been waiting here for a long time, and they were furious. However, there was no one around them. Even if they were angry, they had nowhere to vent their anger. Now that they finally saw someone, they naturally wanted to vent their anger on Yi Hao. Both of you are quite hot-tempered. Yi Hao smiled when he saw their expressions. Oomph. The two of them snorted when they heard Yi Hao's words. Men, bring the gifts to the two department heads. Yi Hao didn't get angry and said directly. Although Chief Long and Chief Nan were furious, they were also curious about what Yi Hao's gift was. Therefore, although they were furious, they could not help but look at the entrance of the tent. They saw a soldier carrying a tray. There was something on the tray, but it was covered with a red cloth. Please open it and take a look. Yi Hao gestured to the two department heads. Oomph, what a bunch of tricks. Chief Nan snorted and removed the red cloth. The dissatisfaction on Chief Nan's face immediately disappeared. She took a few steps back in panic. This, Chief Wu. Chief Long's expression changed. His eyes widened in disbelief as he looked at the item on the tray. Chief Wu's head was on the tray. Are you satisfied with my gift? Yi Hao looked at the two of them and asked with a smile. What do you mean by this? The two of them stared at Yi Hao and asked cautiously. They were both angry and fearful at the same time. Nothing. I just want to congratulate both of you for not making the wrong decision. Otherwise, the item on the tray would not be a head. Yi Hao said, Are you trying to intimidate us? Chief Long frowned and looked at Yi Hao. You can think of it that way. Yi Hao nodded nonchalantly. Who are you? Where's His Majesty? Chief Nan stared at Yi Hao and asked hurriedly. Yi Hao, the third prince consort of the Tianyuan kingdom. Yi Hao answered. Are you Yi Hao? Chief Long looked at Yi Hao. Apparently, he had heard of Yi Hao before. After all, Zhaoling choosing a prince consort was a big deal. Naturally, the news had spread throughout the Tianyuan kingdom. I was wondering what kind of big shot he was. So he's just the prince consort. Southern Division Chief couldn't help but scoff when he heard Yi Hao's identity. After all, everyone knew that although the title of prince consort sounded nice, it wasn't worth anything at all. In front of some minor officials, the status of the emperor's son-in-law was something that the minor officials had to give some face to. But as the head of the department, there was no need for them to take Yi Hao seriously. What? Chief Nan doesn't seem to take me seriously? Yi Hao couldn't help but look at Chief Wu. Oomph. Chief Nan snorted coldly and turned his head to the side. Apparently, he agreed with Yi Hao's words. What about Chief Long? Yi Hao looked at Chief Long and asked, Are you also taking me seriously? Chief Long shook his head. Apparently, he didn't take Yi Hao seriously either. Then kneel before me. Yi Hao wasn't angry at all and said, Are you crazy? You want us to kneel down before you? You're just a little prince consort. Who do you think you are? The two department heads were shocked and looked at Yi Hao with disdain. The golden dragon token. But in the next second, they were stunned when they saw the golden dragon token in Yi Hao's hand. What? Aren't you going to kneel down? Yi Hao looked at the two department heads and smiled faintly. Hesitation appeared on the faces of the two department heads. Seeing the golden dragon token was equivalent to seeing Emperor Tianyuan. This was the rule since the founding of the Tianyuan kingdom. Even though they were department heads, they still had about 3 times and kowtow 9 times when they saw the golden dragon token. However, the Tianyuan kingdom's royal family was declining day by day. On the other hand, their own forces were getting stronger and stronger. Their arrogance had made them look down on Emperor Tianyuan. They didn't even want to kneel down in front of Emperor Tianyuan, let alone the golden dragon token. It's okay if you don't want to kneel down. Take this out and feed it to the dogs. Yi Hao said to the two department heads and pointed at the head on the tray. When the guards heard Yi Hao's words, they immediately took the head out. Upon seeing this, Division Chief Long and Division Chief Nan finally realized that Tianyuan kingdom wasn't as weak as they had thought it to be. Since Chief Wu could be killed, why couldn't they be killed as well? At the thought of this, they broke out in cold sweat. Chief Long and Chief Nan looked at each other and immediately knelt down on the ground. Greetings, Your Majesty. Long live the Emperor. Chief Long, are you loyal to the Tianyuan kingdom? Yi Hao suddenly asked when he saw the two of them kneeling down on the ground. Of course, I am loyal to the Tianyuan kingdom. I will never betray you. That's right. I am willing to go through fire and water for the Tianyuan kingdom. Chief Long and Chief Nin quickly said when they heard Yi Hao's question. What a joke. Since they had knelt down, it meant that they were afraid of the Tianyuan kingdom. They didn't dare to say that they weren't loyal to the Tianyuan kingdom. If that's the case, I hope that both of you will die on the battlefield. Are you willing? What? You want us to die on the battlefield? Why do you want us to die on the battlefield? Chief Long and Chief Nin panicked when they heard that Yi Hao wanted them to die on the battlefield. If the emperor wants us to die, we have no choice but to die. Yi Hao looked at the two of them and said, I want you to die on the battlefield. Do you have any objections? Don't go too far. Chief Long glared at Yi Hao. As the head of a department, I have always been loyal to the Tianyuan kingdom. I can't accept my fate. The head of the South Department raised his head and looked at Yi Hao as he roared in anger. It's fine if you don't like it. Yi Hao immediately clapped his hands. Boom! Suddenly, a powerful force came from outside the tent and pressed down on the two of them. They felt that their lives were in danger. Demon Emperor, 10th Order Demon Emperor. Both of them were in disbelief when they felt the powerful force. They had thought that the Tianyuan kingdom's hidden Demon Emperor would be very strong. However, they had never thought that the Tianyuan kingdom's hidden Demon Emperor would be so strong that he was at the 10th Order Demon Emperor. They finally understood why Chief Wu died so easily. They knew that if the people outside the tent were to make a move, they would die as well. Do you want to die on a battlefield and leave your name in history? Or do you want to be killed here? Make your choice. Chapter 923. After Yi Hao finished speaking, he threw a pile of documents in front of the two of them. When the two of them saw what Yi Hao threw over, they immediately picked it up and looked at it. But when they looked at it, their faces changed drastically. This was because these records were all things that were rarely known to others, things that cannot be seen by others. For example, they privately expanded their army, lied about their military expenditure, increased taxes. Every one of these records could send them to the death penalty. But they didn't have to worry at all because the Tianyuan kingdom's imperial family was in decline. Gradually, they didn't put Emperor Tianyuan in their eyes. Since they didn't even put the emperor in their eyes, why would they be afraid of others knowing about these things? Therefore, they didn't believe that anyone would dare to touch them. But they didn't expect that the Tianyuan kingdom actually had a 10th Order Demon Emperor. With this 10th Order Demon Emperor, if he directly punished them and killed them, they wouldn't have any way to resist. I think these crimes are enough to implicate 9 generations of your family. Now, I'm giving you the chance to die on the battlefield. Are you convinced? Yi Hao looked at the two department heads and asked, I'm convinced. I'm also convinced. Department Head Long and Department Head South looked at each other and said with bitter expressions. After all, they had no other choice at this point. As long as Yi Hao gave the order, their heads would fall to the ground at any time. It was better to die on the battlefield and leave a good reputation. Put away your little thoughts. If you dare to act recklessly, think about your clansmen. Yi Hao's gaze swept over the two of them and said. Then Yi Hao waved his hand and 5 heads appeared in front of him. Look, do you recognize them? These are the Broken Kingdom's demon emperors. Department Head Long and Department Head South looked at the 5 heads and couldn't help but be shocked. They knew that there were only 8 demon emperors in the entire Broken Kingdom. There were 5 heads here, and adding the number of heads that Emperor Tianyuan had given them, there were exactly 8 of them. What did this mean? This meant that the Broken Kingdom's demon emperors were all killed without leaving a single one. How could the two of them not be shocked? One had to know that the reason why the Duan Kingdom could be so powerful and bully the Tianyuan Kingdom was mostly because of those 8 Demon Emperor powerhouses, which the Tianyuan Kingdom couldn't take out. Now that the Broken Kingdom's Demon Emperors were all dead, they would become fish on the chopping board, waiting to be slaughtered by the Tianyuan Kingdom. They knew that Yi Hao was warning them that if they dared to act recklessly, this would be their fate. Of course, in the beginning, they did have some small thoughts, and that was to rebel and join the Broken Kingdom. But now that the Broken Kingdom's Devil Emperors were all dead, If they still sought refuge with the broken kingdom, that was simply courting death. I will give you 50,000 soldiers. Do you have any objections? Yi Hao asked the two of them. The two of them knew that Yi Hao wanted them dead, and they had no choice but to accept it. Furthermore, dying on the battlefield was much better than being treated as a traitor and killed. After all, Yi Hao had gathered evidence of their crimes. It would not be a problem to sentence them to death. In fact, it might even implicate their entire families. Sir, if we die on the battlefield, will you let our people go? Chief Long suddenly looked at Yi Hao and asked. Upon hearing Chief Long's question, Chief South also looked at Yi Hao. Apparently, this was also a question that he was concerned about. This will depend on your performance and whether they cherish it or not. Do they deserve to live? Naturally, Yi Hao would not agree to let their people live. After all, there were quite a number of evil and sinister people among them. Yi Hao would definitely not allow such people to live. As for those who were loyal and righteous to the Tianyuan kingdom, Yi Hao would choose to let them go. Some of their crimes do not deserve death. Sir, please let them live. Chief Long pleaded Yi Hao. Sir, we will die on the battlefield. I hope that you will keep your promise. Chief South also looked at Yi Hao and pleaded. The 50,000 soldiers are outside. I hope that you can kill as many enemies as you can and serve the Tianyuan kingdom. Yi Hao extended his hand and gestured for them to leave. The two of them immediately got up and walked out of the tent. Outside the tent stood 50,000 soldiers. Every one of them looked as though they were ready to die. These 50,000 soldiers were the rebel soldiers of the Tianyuan Royal City Army. If they were to attack the army of the Broken Kingdom directly, they would not be able to cause much of a stir. However, with Chief Long and Chief South, who were both demon emperors, around, Yi Hao believed that the 50,000 soldiers would cause a stir. The 50,000 soldiers left the Tianyuan Kingdom's military camp under the lead of Chief Long and Chief South. Sir, do you want me to keep an eye on them to prevent them from acting recklessly? Sun Shangxiang asked respectfully as he looked at Yi Hao. No need. They will not dare to act recklessly. Yi Hao said confidently. This was because Chief Long and Chief South had no other choice. In order to protect their people, they had no choice but to obey. Previously, they had only been driven to desperation, and that was to seek refuge with the Broken Kingdom. However, Yi Hao believed that as long as the two of them were not stupid, they would not do so. After all, the Broken Kingdom did not have a single Demon Emperor expert. If they sought refuge with the Broken Kingdom, it would not be of any help to them. Moreover, with Sun Shangxiang's strength, they would not dare to act recklessly. Shangxiang, call Huang Zhong over. Yi Hao looked at Sun Shangxiang and said. Huang Zhong followed behind Sun Shangxiang. When he saw Yi Hao, he bowed respectfully and said, Sir, you are looking for me? I will give you a mission. Go and gather all the generals of the 3 divisions. Those who disobey will be killed without mercy. Yi Hao took out 3 tokens and handed them to Huang Zhong. As for these 3 tokens, they were naturally the military authority tokens of the 3 divisions. With these 3 tokens, one could control the 3 divisions. Understood. Huang Zhong will definitely complete the mission. Huang Zhong hurriedly received the 3 tokens. After Huang Zhong left, Yi Hao said to Sun Shangxiang, Shangxiang, let's go. At this time, the Broken Kingdom's imperial court had long become a pot of porridge. What the hell is going on? Why is there no news of the 5 demon emperors? That Emperor Tianyuan was killed or not? Reckon that with the 5 demon emperors taking action, Emperor Tianyuan should have been killed. Those are our Broken Kingdom's last 5 demon emperors. Nothing must happen to them. All the ministers knew that the Broken Kingdom only had 5 demon emperors. They were all sent out by Duan Tianya. But calculating according to the time, the 5 demon emperors should have returned long ago. But until now, there was no news of the 5 demon emperors. How could they not be anxious? Chapter 924. His Majesty has arrived. Suddenly, a eunuch's voice was heard. Duan Tianya walked in with an ugly expression. Your subjects greet your Majesty. Long live the Emperor. Duan Kingdom's civil and military officials immediately bowed respectfully when they saw Duan Tinya. Rise! Duan Tinya waved his hand impatiently. Your Majesty, why haven't the Demon Emperors returned? Your Majesty, is there any news of the Demon Emperors? Your Majesty, enough! Shut up! Duan Tinya shouted angrily. As soon as he arrived, Duan Tinya heard the officials talking endlessly. His already irritated heart became even more irritated. After all, as the Emperor of Duan Kingdom, who could compare to him when it came to caring about the Demon Emperors? Because the life and death of several Demon Emperors was related to the life and death of Duan Kingdom. According to his calculations, the Demon Emperors should have returned. But there was no news of the Demon Emperors, so how could he not be anxious? Could it be that Tianyuan Kingdom really has that many experts? Duan Tinya thought distractedly, and his brows were completely knitted together, because he had always guessed that Tianyuan Kingdom having one Demon Emperor expert was already very good. So he came up with a plan to lure the tiger away from the mountain and let Duan Kingdom's Demon Emperors lead an army to massacre Tianyuan Kingdom's cities to attract the Tianyuan Kingdom's experts. Then, he would use the million-strong army to delay the Tianyuan Kingdom's Demon Emperors. If he could really use the million-strong army to exhaust the Tianyuan Kingdom's experts to death, that would be the best. At the same time, he would let the Demon Emperors kill Emperor Tianyuan. He thought that this plan was perfect, but who knew that after waiting for so long, there was no news of the Demon Emperors. The first news he received was that one Demon Emperor was killed by Huangzhong, and that Huangzhong was surrounded by a million-strong army. The remaining 4 Demon Emperors went to Tianyuan Kingdom. All this news was going in a good direction, according to his plan. But he didn't wait for good news. Instead, there was no news at all. All of the officials could tell that Duan Tinya was in a bad mood, so they lowered their heads in silence, not daring to say anything. Reporting to your Majesty, a spy has returned. Just as the hall fell into silence, a guard suddenly came in to report. Quickly announce it, Duan Tinya said anxiously when he heard the guard's words. This subordinate greets your Majesty. May your Majesty live for 10,000 years. The scout walked into the hall and saw Duan Tinya sitting on the dragon throne. He immediately knelt on the ground and saluted. Quick, tell me what's the situation on the battlefield. Have the experts of the Tianyuan Kingdom been killed? Where are the Demon Emperors? Duan Tinya looked at the guard and quickly asked. Hearing Duan Tinya's question, all of the civil and military officials turned their gazes to the spy. Hearing Duan Tinya's question, the spy's expression turned ugly. Reporting to your Majesty, when we were about to kill that expert from the Tianyuan Kingdom, a man and a woman suddenly appeared and killed us, causing us to suffer heavy losses. Later on, when the soldiers of the Tianyuan Kingdom appeared, we were utterly defeated and had no choice but to retreat. Who are this man and woman? What do you mean? The experts of the Tianyuan Kingdom weren't killed. The emperor of the Tianyuan Kingdom shouldn't have been killed. Why would the soldiers of the Tianyuan Kingdom suddenly appear? Could it be that Emperor Tianyuan wasn't killed? After hearing the spy's words, all of the officials present began to discuss again. Quiet. Hearing that Huangzhong hadn't been killed, Duan Tinya had a bad premonition. I'm asking you, where's Li Run? Duan Tinya looked at the spy and asked. Lord Li Run is dead. The spy looked at Duan Tinya carefully and said nervously. What? Li Run is dead? Who did it? Hearing the spy's words, Duan Tinya was immediately enraged. One had to know that although this Li Rin wasn't an expert, but in Duan Tinya's eyes, this Li Run was even more precious than a Demon Emperor expert. This was because this Li Run was a military genius. He could command an army of millions by himself. And Li Run had also made countless contributions to his Duan Kingdom. Li Run was also his trusted aide. Therefore, this time, he would hand over such an important matter like hunting Huangzhong to Li Run. But at this moment, when he heard that Li Run was dead, he couldn't believe it for a moment and directly shouted angrily. What? Lord Li Run is dead. Hearing the spy's words, the expressions of many of the ministers in the imperial court changed. At this moment, they all looked at each other and carefully looked at Duan Tianya. After all, when the Son of Heaven was angry, millions of corpses would fall. They were still afraid of Duan Tianya and didn't dare to provoke him. "Your Majesty, please calm down." Seeing Duan Tinya's angry appearance, the spy hurriedly said nervously. Duan Tianya controlled his anger and continued to ask, "Then what about the remaining demon emperors of my Duan kingdom?" This subordinate doesn't know. The spy hurriedly shook his head. "The demon emperor you're looking for is here. Do you want to come out and take a look?" At this moment, an arrogant voice suddenly came from outside the hall. "Impudent, who is so bold?" Hearing the voice outside the hall, Duan Tianya, who was originally filled with anger, became even more furious at this moment. Daring to speak in such a tone in front of him, this was simply not putting him, the emperor, in his eyes. "Men, capture this reckless thing for me." Although Duan Tianya didn't know who was outside the hall, he directly ordered, "Capture him and kill him." As soon as Duan Tinya's voice fell, he heard the guards outside the hall shout. The civil and military officials in the hall all looked outside curiously. Unfortunately, the hall's door was closed and they couldn't see what was outside. Bang! 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 Jumping in fright, the hall's door was smashed into pieces and a pile of guards smashed in. A bunch of guards crashed into the main hall, and all of them died. When everyone saw this scene, their expressions changed drastically. "Who is it? How dare you be so impudent?" Looking at the corpses on the ground, the anger in Duan Tinya's eyes almost spurted out. Duan Tinya shouted in a deep voice. Therefore, the civil and military officials all knew that Duan Tinya was truly angry this time. "Ha ha ha! Emperor Duan, don't be angry. Be careful not to harm your kidneys." At this moment, a sound came from outside the hall, and a youth walked in. "Who is he? I don't think I've seen him before." Looking at his clothes, he shouldn't be someone from my Duan kingdom. The officials present looked at Yi Hao in disgust. "Who are you?" Duan Tinya looked at Yi Hao and asked in a deep voice. Chapter 925. Gift. Duan Tianya wasn't stupid. Yi Hao dared to barge into his palace. He didn't believe that Yi Hao would give him a good gift after killing his guards. With a wave of Yi Hao's hand, 8 heads fell neatly onto the floor of the imperial court. "Are these the 8 demon emperors? How is this possible?" The 8 demon emperors of Duan Kingdom were all killed. "Who is he? How'd he do it?" "It's over. The 8 demon emperors are all dead. Duan Kingdom is in danger." The civil and military officials recognized the 8 heads on the ground. When the civil and military officials looked at the 8 heads on the ground, their faces turned ugly. The 8 demon emperors were the pillars of Duan Kingdom. The fall of the 8 demon emperors meant that the pillars of Duan Kingdom had collapsed. "You're courting death." Duan Tianya felt his heart bleeding when he saw the 8 heads on the ground. He stood up angrily. "Is Duan Huang satisfied with this gift of mine?" Yi Hao looked at Duan Tianya and asked with a faint smile. Duan Tianya couldn't take it anymore when he heard Yi Hao's words. He spat out a mouthful of blood. "Your Majesty! Your Majesty! Your Majesty!" All the officials were anxious and looked at Duan Tianya worriedly. "I already said that anger hurts the kidneys." Yi Hao continued when he saw Duan Tianya spit out blood. "I'm here today to tell you that Duan Kingdom is dead. Who do you think you are? What arrogance! How dare you say that you're bullying the people of Duan Kingdom? You're courting death." At this moment, many of the ministers were glaring at Yi Hao. If it weren't for the 8 demon emperors on the ground, they would have attacked Yi Hao. "Kill them," Yi Hao said calmly when he heard the officials. Clang! The sound of a sword being unsheathed was heard. Then, a figure entered the main hall. The figure didn't say a word after entering the main hall. He started moving like the Grim Reaper. The long sword in his hand emitted rays of cold light. Sun Shangxiang waved the cold sword, and blood splattered everywhere. In the blink of an eye, half of the civil and military officials were killed by Sun Shangxiang. Their corpses were strewn all over the court. "Whoever dares to be disrespectful to my lord, this is the consequence. Sun Shangxiang coldly snorted and immediately released the aura on her body. The 10th Order Demon Emperor's cultivation suppressed the remaining people, almost forcing them to kneel. He should be a 10th Order Demon Emperor's. Heavens, what a powerful cultivation. No wonder he could kill my Duan Kingdom's Demon Emperor's experts killed Duan Kingdom. I can't control myself. I have the urge to kneel down. All the officials was shocked. Tiantit estetianyas, S's, Katiss anger. This is Duan Tianya was angry and afraid at the same time. He was angry because he felt that this was the first time he had suffered such a great humiliation. Yi Hao actually ordered Sun Shangxiang to kill his officials in the imperial court. If news of this spread out, his emperor's prestige would be swept to the ground. However, Sun Shangxiang's strength was too terrifying. He was afraid because no one in the entire Duan Kingdom was Sun Shangxiang's opponent. Duan Tianya was extremely anxious, and he didn't know what to do. Insolent madman, how dare you act presumptuously in my Duan Kingdom? You're courting death. Right at this time, an old man in golden robes appeared in the main hall. The old man's wrinkled face looked like a zombie. However, the old man's eyes were brimming with a bright and spirited light. Old ancestor, you're not dead. Duan Tianya looked at the old man and stood up excitedly. The old man in front of him was the Duan Kingdom's #1 expert. However, he had gone into seclusion and hadn't appeared since. So many years had passed, and Duan Tianya thought that the old man had fallen. Useless thing! How dare you make my Duan Kingdom suffer such great humiliation? The old man looked at Duan Tianya with a trace of dissatisfaction in his eyes. Duan Tianya lowered his head helplessly. Tianya is incompetent. Please punish me. After I take care of these two arrogant people, I'll hold you accountable. The old man snorted coldly. Despite the old man's words, Duan Tianya's face was full of joy. At the very least, the Duan Kingdom was saved. He believed that with the old ancestor around, the Duan Kingdom would be able to regain its glory. One had to know that when the old man had gone into seclusion, he was already a 9th Order Demon Emperor. Now that he had come out of seclusion, he was at least a 10th Order Demon Emperor. As long as the old man reached the 10th Order Demon Emperor, there was no need to fear Sun Shangxiang's strength. At this moment, the officials in the imperial court also revealed looks of excitement. Ha! The heavens really didn't forget about our Duan Kingdom, ah? I didn't expect the old ancestor to still be alive. We're saved this time. At this moment, all the officials were discussing excitedly. Many of them glared at Yi Hao and Sun Shangxiang, then respectfully said to the old man, Old ancestor, they killed 8 of our Duan Kingdom's demon emperors. Old ancestor, please uphold justice for us, ah. That's right. They actually killed their way into our Duan Kingdom's imperial court. This is an attempt to destroy our Duan Kingdom. This is absolutely unforgivable. If it wasn't for the old ancestor's appearance, our Duan Kingdom would have been destroyed. Old ancestor, please avenge us. Now that the old man had appeared, the officials seemed to have found a powerful backer. With this old ancestor here, the Duan Kingdom will never be destroyed. The old man's aura surged as he spoke in an overbearing manner. Hearing the old man's words, the officials felt their blood boiling as they looked at the old man with excitement. Sensing the old man's aura, Sun Shangxiang frowned slightly. She felt a trace of danger from the old man's body. She could feel that the old man's strength wasn't any weaker than her. This old ancestor will give you a chance. Kneel down and admit your wrongs, and I will leave your corpses intact. Otherwise, I will make you suffer a fate worse than death. The old man looked at Yi Hao and Sun Shangxiang and said coldly, In order to make Yi Hao and Sun Shangxiang lose their will to resist, the old man directly said, This old ancestor is already in the half-step spirit body realm. One of you is a demon emperor, and the other is a 10th Order demon emperor. You are no match for me. The old man looked at Yi Hao and Sun Shangxiang with disdain. When he spoke of his cultivation realm, There was a proud expression on his face. In fact, if he hadn't sensed the danger in the Duan kingdom, he would have gone into seclusion because he was only half a step away from entering the spirit body realm. This made him furious because Yi Hao had interfered with his cultivation. But in his opinion, a half-step spirit body realm was enough to kill Yi Hao and Sun Shangxiang. Chapter 926. Ah, a brat like you probably hasn't even heard of the existence of the Atman body realm. The old man looked at Yi Hao with disdain. This was because most martial artists didn't know about the Atman body realm. To most martial artists, the Demon Emperor was the strongest existence. How could they not know that the Demon Emperor was just a threshold? What is the Atman body realm? Isn't the Demon Emperor the strongest? One of the ministers was obviously hearing about the Atman body realm for the first time, so he asked the minister beside him with a puzzled expression, I heard that the Atman body realm is the realm above the Demon Emperor. As long as one steps into the Atman body realm, they will transform into a spiritualist much stronger than martial artists. Then the old ancestor will be very powerful if he reaches the Atman body realm. It's not just powerful. Our broken kingdom has never had an Atman body realm expert. The old ancestor will definitely lead us to glory. All of the officials present were discussing amongst themselves as they looked at the old man excitedly. Old ancestor, you're already half-step into the Atman body realm? Hearing the old man's words, Duan Tianyao looked at the old man excitedly. If the old man was really in the Atman body realm, then even if all the demon emperors in the broken kingdom fell, the kingdom would still rise quickly. Duan Tianyao instantly understood what it meant to have a glimmer of hope at one's darkest hour. Originally, when he saw Sun Shangxiang, he had already lost all hope. He thought that he was going to die today, but he didn't expect the old ancestor to appear out of nowhere at the crucial moment. That's right, if I wasn't forced to come out of seclusion, I would definitely be able to step into the Atman body realm and become a powerful spiritualist. The old man said with a yearning look, It's all my fault. I will apologize to the old ancestor after this. Now, I asked the old ancestor to deal with these two people first. Duan Tianyao looked at Yi Hao and Duan Tianyao, his voice cold and murderous as he pleaded to the old man. Of course, those who offend my broken kingdom will definitely die. The old man obviously treated Yi Hao as a dead man. I'll give you another chance. Kneel down and beg for mercy, and I'll leave your corpse intact. It's up to you whether you want it or not. The old man didn't intend to kill Yi Hao directly, because in his opinion, if he killed Yi Hao, it would be letting Yi Hao off too easily. Therefore, he planned to humiliate Yi Hao and let him torture and kill Yi Hao. Only then would he be able to intimidate the officials and relieve the hatred in his heart. After all, there were two things that were very important to him. The first was to protect Broken Kingdom, and the second was to cultivate. But these two things were ruined because of Yi Hao. How could he not be angry? So when he looked at Yi Hao, he gritted his teeth and wanted to kill Yi Hao. If you want me to kneel, we'll have to see if you have the ability to do so. Defeat my subordinates first. Yi Hao looked at the old man and said, All right, I'll show you my strength and convince you. The old man roared when he heard Yi Hao's words and was about to attack. Wait a moment. Who knew that at this moment, Yi Hao would suddenly stop him? What do you mean? The old man frowned, not understanding what Yi Hao wanted to do. Shangxiang, this is for you. Yi Hao took out a pill and handed it to Sun Shangxiang. This pill was naturally the Demon Emperor level-up pill. Yi Hao believed that with this Demon Emperor level-up pill, with Sun Shangxiang's 10th Order Demon Emperor cultivation, she would definitely be able to become an Atman body expert. Yi Hao trusted the products of the system very much. What is this kid doing? Why did he take out a pill? What kind of pill is this? Could it be a trap? I guess it's a pill that can stimulate one's potential or strength. When the officials saw the pill that Yi Hao took out, they were immediately worried. Duan Tianyao was also anxious. Old ancestor, quickly do something. Don't let her eat the pill. What if it's a trap? You guys don't know how powerful a half-step Atman body expert is. It's just a pill, let her eat it. The old man laughed nonchalantly. Obviously, He was very confident in his own strength. Sun Shangxiang looked at the pill that Yi Hao handed over and swallowed it without asking what it was. The moment she swallowed it, Sun Shangxiang's eyes lit up. Sun Shangxiang was stunned. Then, her face was filled with excitement. This was because she felt a warm current flowing through her limbs and bones. This warm current carried a powerful force. At the same time, the martial Tao energy in her body was also rapidly transforming. Even her dantian was rapidly transforming into a spiritual abode. The spiritual abode was naturally an existence that was stronger than the dantian. It could store more power than the martial Tao energy, spiritual power. At the same time, the weather in the sky above the main hall suddenly changed. Countless martial Tao energy was being squeezed and pushed away, while an even more powerful force, spiritual power, was converging towards this place. At this moment, Sun Shangxiang's body had completely changed. Her surroundings were filled with powerful spiritual power. This is the spiritual power in fusion. Just as everyone was looking at the scene in front of them in confusion, the old man's face suddenly changed as he said in shock. This was something that he had always dreamed of. As long as he officially transformed from a demon emperor to an Atman body expert, he would experience the spiritual power in fusion. Although he was a half-step Atman body expert, perhaps because his understanding of spiritual power was not enough, he was still unable to accept the spiritual power infusion. The old man was both shocked and envious as he looked at Sun Shangxiang. One had to know that he was looking down on Sun Shangxiang just a moment ago. He did not understand why it was as difficult as ascending to the heavens for him. He had been cultivating in seclusion for decades and still could not achieve the spiritual power infusion. Why was Sun Shangxiang able to do it so easily all of a sudden? Could it be because of that medicinal pill just now? The old man suddenly thought of the medicinal pill that Yi Hao had given to Sun Shangxiang. As for Sun Shangxiang, it was after she had consumed that pill that she received the spiritual body infusion. This made the old man even more certain that it was because of the medicinal pill that Yi Hao had given to Sun Shangxiang. However, the old man was indeed shocked. He did not dare to believe that there was such a powerful medicinal pill in the world. It could actually allow a demon emperor expert to receive the spiritual power infusion and enter the Atman body realm in an instant. If this news were to spread, it would probably cause a frenzy in the entire ancient demon domain. After all, many cultivators were stuck at the 10th order demon emperor realm for their entire life because they could not enter the Atman body realm. In the end, they died of old age. Why didn't I snatch that medicinal pill just now? At this moment, the old man's face was filled with regret, because if he knew that the medicinal pill would have such an effect, he definitely would not have allowed Sun Shangxiang to eat it. He looked at Sun Shangxiang, who was standing in the middle of the hall with his eyes closed, as he was enveloped by the spiritual power infusion. The old man's expression changed continuously. No, I can't let him succeed. Chapter 927. Not good. Yi Hao panicked when he saw the old man's attack. He didn't expect that Sun Shangxiang, who was only at the Atman body realm, would have to go through so much trouble. He didn't know if the old man's attack would affect Sun Shangxiang's cultivation. But looking at the old man's powerful palm, Yi Hao knew that Sun Shangxiang wouldn't feel good if this palm landed on him. But it was too late because the old man's movements were too fast. So this is a half-step Atman body realm. It's really terrifying. Many people gasped when they saw the old man's speed. Boom! The old man's palm landed on Sun Shangxiang's body. However, what happened next shocked everyone. What everyone thought would happen, that Sun Shangxiang would be sent flying, did not happen. Instead, when the old man's palm was still a distance away from Sun Shangxiang's body, the powerful energy around Sun Shangxiang attacked the old man, sending him flying. The old man was sent flying like a cannonball, crashing into a jade pillar in the main hall. The jade pillar, which was as thick as two people, shattered and collapsed under the old man's impact. Fortunately, there were many jade pillars in the main hall, so the main hall didn't collapse just because one of them was missing. The old man didn't expect this to happen. He had never encountered something like this before. The old man even felt that his internal organs were dislocated at the same time, causing him to spit out a mouthful of blood. If he hadn't held on, he would have fainted on the spot. Old ancestor, Duan Tinya shouted worriedly when he saw the old man's condition. Not good. Yihao panicked when he saw the old man's attack. He didn't expect that Sun Shangxiang, who was only at the Atman body realm, would have to go through so much trouble. He didn't know if the old man's palm strike would affect Sun Shangxiang's cultivation. But looking at the old man's palm, Yihao knew that if this palm landed on Sun Shangxiang's body, it would definitely not end well. But at this moment, it was clearly too late. The old man's movements were simply too fast. So this is the power of a half-step Atman body realm cultivator. It is indeed terrifying. Many people gasped as they looked at Yi Chen's speed. Boom! The old man's palm landed on Sun Shangxiang's body. However, what happened next shocked everyone. What everyone thought would happen, that Sun Shangxiang would be sent flying, did not happen. On the other hand, when the old man's palm was still a distance away from Sun Shangxiang's physical body, the old man's palm suddenly stopped moving. Sun Shangxiang's powerful strength attacked the old man, instantly sending him flying. The old man was like a cannonball, smashing into a jade pillar in the main hall. And the jade pillar, which was as thick as two people, actually shattered under the old man's impact. Fortunately, there were many jade pillars in the main hall, so the main hall didn't collapse just because one pillar was missing. The old man obviously didn't expect this to happen. He had never encountered such a thing before. The old man even felt that his internal organs were dislocated at the same time, causing him to spit out a mouthful of blood. If he hadn't held on, he would have fainted on the spot. Old ancestor, seeing the old man's appearance, Duan Tianya immediately shouted worriedly. Not good. Seeing the old man's attack, Yihao also panicked. This was because he didn't expect that Sun Shangxiang, who wasn't at the Atman body realm, would have to go through so much trouble and still have to undergo the spirit energy infusion. Although he didn't know if the old man's palm strike would affect Sun Shangxiang's cultivation. But looking at the old man's powerful palm, Yihao knew that if this palm strike landed on Sun Shangxiang's body, it would definitely not end well. But it was obviously too late because the old man's movements were too fast. So this is a half-step Atman body realm. It's really terrifying. Looking at the old man's speed, many people sucked in a breath of cold air. Boom! The old man's palm directly landed on Sun Shangxiang's body. But what happened next shocked everyone. What everyone thought in their hearts, that Sun Shangxiang would be sent flying, didn't happen. Instead, when the old man's palm was still a distance away from Sun Shangxiang's body, Sun Shangxiang's powerful energy directly attacked the old man, instantly sending him flying. Like a cannonball, the old man smashed into a jade pillar in the main hall. And the jade pillar, which was as thick as two people, actually shattered under the old man's impact. Fortunately, there were many jade pillars in the main hall, so the main hall didn't collapse just because one pillar was missing. The old man obviously didn't expect this to happen, and he had never encountered such a thing before. The old man even felt that his internal organs were dislocated at the same time, so he spat out a mouthful of blood. If he didn't hold on, he would have blacked out and fainted. Grand Elder, seeing the old man's appearance, Duan Tianya immediately shouted worriedly. Not good. Seeing the old man's attack, Yihao also panicked. This was because he didn't expect that Sun Shangxiang, who wasn't at the Atman body realm, would have to go through so much trouble and still have to undergo the spiritual energy infusion. Although he didn't know if the old man's palm strike would affect Sun Shangxiang's cultivation. But looking at the old man's powerful palm, Yihao knew that if this palm strike landed on Sun Shangxiang's body, it would definitely not end well. But it was obviously too late because the old man's movements were too fast. So this is a half-step Atman body realm. It's really terrifying. Looking at the old man's speed, Many people sucked in a breath of cold air. Boom! The old man's palm directly landed on Sun Shangxiang's body. But what happened next shocked everyone. What everyone thought in their hearts, that Sun Shangxiang would be sent flying, didn't happen. Instead, when the old man's palm was still a bit away from Sun Shangxiang's body, Sun Shangxiang's powerful energy directly attacked the old man, instantly sending him flying. The old man was like a cannonball, smashing into a jade pillar in the main hall. And the jade pillar, which was as thick as two people, actually shattered and collapsed under the old man's impact. Fortunately, there were many jade pillars in the main hall, so the main hall didn't collapse just because one of them was missing. The old man obviously didn't expect this to happen, and he had never encountered such a thing before. The old man even felt that his internal organs were dislocated at the same time, so he spat out a mouthful of blood. If he hadn't held on, he would have blacked out and fainted. Chapter 928. Yes, seeing the patriarch's angry appearance. At this moment, when the guards heard the patriarch's orders, they couldn't help but attack Yi Hao. Yi Hao's spirit stones were useless against the old man, but they were very useful against this group of guards. Seeing the group of guards rushing towards him, Yi Hao naturally wouldn't be polite and directly threw out a handful of spirit stones. In an instant, before the group of guards could rush over, they were already blown up until not even dregs were left. And Yi Hao's gaze never looked at the group of guards. Obviously, he didn't put the guards in his eyes. Yi Hao stared at the old man wholeheartedly. As long as the old man moved in the slightest, he would circle around Sun Shangxiang and dodge. The old man was furious, but he couldn't do anything to Yi Hao. "You're not chasing?" Seeing the old man fly into a rage but stand in place, Yi Hao couldn't help but laugh. The old man looked at Yi Hao with a cold gaze. No one knew what he was thinking in his heart. Suddenly, the old man's figure moved and grabbed Duan Tianya. "Patriarch, what are you doing?" Duan Tianya looked at the old man in confusion. "I can't deal with that woman. If we stay here, we will all die. We can still think of a way to leave this place." The old man quickly said. When Duan Tianya heard the patriarch's words, he immediately understood. "Don't, patriarch, don't abandon us. Please, patriarch, save us. No matter what, we have been loyal to the Duan kingdom for so long. Even if we didn't make any contributions, we still worked hard." When the ministers in the imperial court heard the old man's words, how could they not know that the old man was going to escape and abandon them? But if they stayed here, they would only be distracted. "Patriarch, this." Looking at the ministers, Duan Tianya couldn't bear to look at the old man. As an emperor, you have to think of the overall situation. How can you be indecisive? The old man glanced at Duan Tianya with dissatisfaction. Duan Tianya hurriedly lowered his head and said to the old man apologetically, "Yes, patriarch." Tianya knows his mistake. The old man did not say anything else. He grabbed Duan Tianya and began to escape. Upon seeing this scene, Yi Hao was secretly anxious. However, there was nothing he could do to stop the elder from escaping. However, he also didn't want to see the old man escape with Duan Tianya, because with the old man's strength, if he escaped, he would definitely become a disaster in the future. Just as Yi Hao was feeling anxious and didn't know what to do, Sun Shangxiang's voice suddenly sounded. "My lord, I'm done." At this moment, the powerful spiritual energy around Sun Shangxiang had disappeared. It was obvious that Sun Shangxiang had absorbed it into his body. Hearing Sun Shangxiang's words, Yi Hao was overjoyed. "Hurry up and catch him." Oh no! The old man's heart tightened. He had not expected Sun Shangxiang to be so fast. Bang! The old man couldn't care less. He immediately found the nearest location and fled toward the main hall. Escape! Hearing Yi Hao's order and looking at the old man's actions, Sun Shangxiang's face couldn't help but reveal a cold smile. Sun Shangxiang calmly took out a bow, an arrow, knocking it and drawing the arrow in one breath. Whoosh! The arrow left the attack and rushed toward the old man's back. Poochie! The arrow directly pierced through the old man's heart. The old man didn't seem to be able to react at all. His entire body exploded. Patriarch! The old man died. Duan Tinya shouted in panic. The entire main hall suddenly became unusually quiet. Dead? A half-step Atman body realm cultivator died so easily. Gulp! Everyone present looked at this scene in shock. Some couldn't help but swallow their saliva. This is the Atman body realm. Yihao was also stunned. He then looked at Sun Shangxiang in shock, because he felt that Sun Shangxiang's strength was several times stronger than before. After all, the old man's strength was not ordinary. He had surpassed the 10th Order Demon Emperor and reached the half-step Atman body realm. But in front of Sun Shangxiang, he didn't even have the chance to react before he was shot dead. Yihao couldn't help but be shocked. So strong. Yihao looked at Sun Shangxiang in shock, replying to the Lord, only after reaching the Atman body realm. Do you know how strong the spiritual energy is and how strong the Atman body realm is? Sun Shangxiang said, and looked at the place where the old man died. With his strength, he is only at the peak of 10th Order Hotian. How dare he say he is a half-step Atman body realm cultivator? What a joke. From Sun Shangxiang's tone, it was clear that Sun Shangxiang was full of disdain for the old man's strength. Lord, let me make a move and kill them. Sun Shangxiang said, and his cold gaze swept over everyone in the hall. Looking at Sun Shangxiang's cold gaze sweeping over them, the hearts of these ministers fell to the bottom. Put on, put on, put on. All the ministers couldn't take it anymore and knelt on the floor. Lord, please spare our lives. As long as Lord spares us, we will be loyal to you. Lord, please don't kill me. I don't want to die. You bunch of cowards. Duan Tinyao looked at the scene of the ministers kneeling in front of Yihao and begging for mercy. He felt as if his heart was being stabbed by a knife. But why would the ministers care about him? Some of them were even glaring at Duan Tinyao. Who was it that abandoned us just now? That's right. As the emperor, he was the first to run away and didn't care about us. Now that the old man has been killed, he can't escape, and he still has the nerve to criticize us. At this moment, the ministers had shed all pretense of cordiality. In order to survive, they spoke without fear of Duan Tinyao. It was obvious that being abandoned by Duan Tinyao had completely broken their hearts. Duan Tinyao's face was ashen and his lips trembled in anger. Yihao didn't say anything. He walked to the dragon throne and sat down to watch the scene before him. Shangxiang, let me see how strong your spiritual energy is. Yihao said to Sun Shangxiang. Leave no one alive except him. Yihao pointed at Duan Tinyao. Yes, your majesty. Sun Shangxiang nodded. Don't. Hearing Yihao's words, countless ministers hurriedly begged for mercy. But Sun Shangxiang didn't care about them. She would only listen to Yihao's orders. Sun Shangxiang's aura surged, and powerful spiritual energy spread out from Sun Shangxiang's body. Sun Shangxiang's powerful spiritual energy immediately spread out in all directions and crushed all the ministers. Thump! 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 Although the ministers were already kneeling on the ground, they were now prostrating themselves on the ground. Their faces were filled with malevolence and fear, but none of them could speak. Bang, bang, bang. Chapter 929. I'm sorry, brothers. We'll see tomorrow. Not good. Seeing the old man attack, Yihao panicked. He did not expect that Sun Shangxiang, who was not at the Atman body realm, would have to go through so much trouble. Although he did not know if the old man's attack would affect Sun Shangxiang's cultivation. But looking at the old man's powerful palm, Yihao knew that if this palm landed on Sun Shangxiang's body, it would not end well. But it was too late because the old man's movements were too fast. So this is a half-step Atman body realm. It is indeed terrifying. Looking at the old man's speed, many people gasped. Boom! The old man's palm landed on Sun Shangxiang's body. But what happened next shocked everyone. What everyone thought would happen, that Sun Shangxiang would be sent flying, did not happen. Instead, when the old man's palm was still a distance away from Sun Shangxiang's body, the powerful energy around Sun Shangxiang attacked the old man, instantly sending him flying. The old man was sent flying like a cannonball, crashing into a jade pillar in the main hall. The jade pillar, which was as thick as two people, shattered under the old man's impact. Fortunately, there were many jade pillars in the main hall, so the main hall did not collapse just because one pillar was missing. The old man obviously did not expect this to happen. He had never encountered such a thing before. The old man even felt that his internal organs were dislocated at the same time, causing him to spit out a mouthful of blood. If he hadn't held on, he would have fainted on the spot. Old ancestor, seeing the old man's appearance, Duan Tianya immediately shouted worriedly, "Quick, catch that kid for me first." The old man hurriedly said. This was because he had already tried to attack Sun Shangxiang and almost got himself seriously injured. He knew that Sun Shangxiang must not be attacked. Unless he was a true Atman body realm expert, he would not be able to interrupt Sun Shangxiang's spirit energy. The old man had already sensed a trace of danger from Sun Shangxiang. He could already imagine that if Sun Shangxiang became an Atman body expert, then he would be no match for Sun Shangxiang. He reckoned that at that time, it would be hard for him to escape death, and Broken Kingdom would be finished. He absolutely couldn't let this happen, but he couldn't do anything about Sun Shangxiang. Hence, he could only turn his attention to Yi Hao, because everyone could see that Sun Shangxiang obviously listened to Yi Hao and was Yi Hao's subordinate. He believed that as long as he captured Yi Hao and used Yi Hao to threaten Sun Shangxiang would not dare to act recklessly. Hurry up and take him down. Hearing the old ancestor's words, Duantian Cliff also understood the gravity of the situation and hurriedly ordered, "All of you go." A group of guards heard Duantian Cliff's order and were about to surround Yi Hao. "Let's see who dares to move." Yi Hao looked at the guards surrounding him and shouted. When these guards heard Yi Hao shout, they were actually stunned on the spot. He's just a small demon emperor. There's no need to be afraid of him. Seeing the guards standing in place, the old man immediately shouted. There was no lack of demon venerable experts among the guards, and when they heard the old man's words, they immediately rushed towards Yi Hao. Yi Hao shook his head helplessly. "Since you all want to die, what can I do?" As soon as Yi Hao finished speaking, he threw out the spirit stones that he had prepared earlier. Rumble. Instantly, there was an explosion, and without a doubt, the few guards who were charging at the front were blown to pieces. "What's that? That looks like a spirit stone. But why did the spirit stone explode?" When the rest of the people saw this scene, they all took a few steps back in fear. Yi Hao waved at the crowd and said provocatively, "I told you not to come over just now, but you all insisted. Now that I'm asking you to come over, don't tell me you don't dare to." The crowd looked at each other. After being provoked by Yi Hao, they were furious, but no one dared to charge forward. What a joke. There were more than 10 demon venerables who had charged forward, but in the next second, there was nothing left of them. The strongest among them was only a demon venerable, so no one dared to act recklessly. "Emperor Duan, you're the role model of the Duan Kingdom. Don't keep sending others to their deaths. Why don't we exchange a few blows?" Suddenly, Yi Hao looked at Duantian Cliff provocatively. Duantian Cliff was so angry that his lips were trembling from Yi Hao's anger. This was because his cultivation talent was average, and he relied entirely on scheming to sit on the throne. And his cultivation was only in the Demon Emperor realm. Even the Demon Venerables were blasted to smithereens in front of Yi Hao. Wasn't he courting death if he went up? Most importantly, Yi Hao dared to provoke him in such a manner in front of so many people. This was simply causing him to lose all face. Old ancestor, Duantian Cliff was furious, and he looked at the old man pleadingly. "A bunch of trash." The old man snorted in dissatisfaction. At this moment, he had already stabilized his injuries. "Dog, let's see how arrogant you can be." The old man shouted angrily, and he grabbed Yi Hao. Yi Hao knew that he was no match for the old man, and the explosion of the spirit stone probably wouldn't cause any harm to the old man. If he fell into the old man's hands, he would undoubtedly be in a passive position. Yi Hao glanced at Sun Shangxiang, and his eyes lit up. Yi Hao immediately ran to Sun Shangxiang's side. When he saw the old man attacking, Yi Hao immediately circled around Sun Shangxiang and dodged. You dog, you. The old man's palm came down, but Yi Hao dodged it. His palm almost landed on Sun Shangxiang's body again. This made him so nervous that he was sweating profusely. Fortunately, he stopped in time, otherwise he would definitely be sent flying again. The old man looked at Yi Hao and roared angrily. Come at me if you can. Seeing the old man's angry look, Yi Hao couldn't help but curl his finger. Go to hell. The old man was provoked by Yi Hao. He turned around and hit at Yi Hao again. However, Yi Hao seemed to have sensed it, and he immediately circled around Sun Shangxiang to dodge. Don't dodge if you can. The old man's palm missed again and almost hit Sun Shangxiang. Fortunately, he stopped again. However, being played by Yi Hao like this made him so angry that he wanted to vomit blood. Don't dodge? Is there something wrong with your brain? Or, is there something wrong with my brain? Do you think I'll just stand there and let you kill me? Seeing the old man being defeated, Yi Hao was in a good mood, and he continued to provoke him. What? Why don't you dare to move? Or are your old arms and legs dying? Half-step up in body realm? Why don't you go to heaven? Did you eat sh*t? Why is your expression so ugly? Hearing Yi Hao's provocation, the old man's eyes were filled with anger, and he shouted loudly, If I don't kill you, I swear I'm not human. Chapter 9:30. Please, I beg you, kill me. Duan Tianya couldn't help but cry out to Yi Hao after his wife and children had been killed, and he was completely alone. It's not that easy to die. I still want you to see how Duan Kingdom will be destroyed in 10 days. Yi Hao replied when he heard Duan Tianya's voice. Shangxiang, give this to Huangzhong. He knows what to do. Yi Hao handed the imperial edict and token to Sun Shangxiang. As you command. Sun Shangxiang took the items and quickly left. Third princess, you mustn't be bewitched by Yi Hao. That's right, third princess. You three sisters have deep brotherly ties. You mustn't be foolish. Third princess, we beg you to let the first and second princesses go. That's right. No matter what, the first and second princesses are still your sisters. At this moment, Zhao Ling was in the depths of the imperial palace, and she wasn't having a good time. Who would have thought that the ministers who were clamoring for their dismissal in front of Yi Hao? After learning that Yi Hao had left Tianyuan Imperial Palace, they all seemed to have forgotten about their dismissal and shamelessly came to reason with her. As for their reasoning, naturally, it was to persuade Zhao Ling not to be bewitched by Yi Hao and to persuade Zhao Ling to release the two princesses. Preposterous. Tianyuan is facing a crisis, and the third prince consort disregarded his personal safety and went to the battlefield to fight for the country. How dare you slander him here? Zhao Ling couldn't help but shout in anger. Hearing Zhao Ling's words, the ministers curled their lips in disdain. We didn't want to go to war in the first place. It's all because of that brat that His Majesty wanted to go to war. That's right. Our Tianyuan Kingdom and Duan Kingdom could have made peace. It's all because of that brat that Tianyuan fell into the flames of war. And what can that kid do even if he goes to the battlefield? It's not like we don't know Tianyuan's strength. Even if that kid goes to the battlefield, he won't be able to change Tianyuan's fate of being defeated by Broken Kingdom. At this moment, without Yi Hao around, these ministers were completely fearless and spoke one by one. You all. Zhao Ling was so angry that he didn't know what to say. She really wished that Yi Hao was here, because in her opinion, only Yi Hao could subdue these ministers. But when she thought of Yi Hao, Zhao Ling couldn't help but worry. Emperor Tianyuan and Yi Hao comforted her. All right, this princess is tired. Let's talk about it another day. Zhao Ling didn't want to listen to these officials anymore. She got up and left. Third princess. As the ministers watched Zhao Ling leave, they hurriedly called out. However, Zhao Ling ignored them. Everyone, the first and second princesses have been imprisoned for a long time. What should we do? Everyone, don't worry. Now that His Majesty isn't in the palace and Yi Hao has also left, only the third princess is left. It's only a matter of time before we rescue the first and second princesses. That's right. The third princess is too soft-hearted. She's easier to deal with. Then let's waste some more time. If that doesn't work, we'll have to use special means. The ministers discussed amongst themselves. Some of them had murderous intent in their eyes. Don't act rashly. If His Majesty returns, or if Yi Hao returns, it will cause trouble. A minister cautioned. What's there to be afraid of? Do you think it's that easy for His Majesty and Yi Hao to come back after going to the battlefield? A minister said unconcernedly. Hearing this minister's words, everyone couldn't help but nod. This was because they all understood the strength of Tianyuan Kingdom and Duan Kingdom. In their opinion, it was impossible for Tianyuan Kingdom to defeat Duan Kingdom with their strength. Therefore, there was a 90% chance that Tianyuan Kingdom would suffer a crushing defeat. And if Tianyuan Kingdom suffered a crushing defeat, the first one to bear the brunt of it would naturally be Emperor Tianyuan. Therefore, all the ministers had their own thoughts. In their opinion, as long as they rescued the first or second princesses, Duan Kingdom would definitely let Tianyuan Kingdom go if Duan Kingdom surrendered and became a vassal state of Duan Kingdom. In the eyes of these ministers, it wasn't that important whether Tianyuan Kingdom became a vassal state or not. In their opinion, the most important thing was the benefits in their hands and their rights. As for why they firmly believed that Duan Kingdom would let Tianyuan Kingdom go if they surrendered, it was because they had all received benefits from Tianyuan Kingdom in private. At the same time, they had also received promises from Duan Kingdom. As long as Tianyuan Kingdom surrendered, they would let Tianyuan Kingdom go and keep their positions. Therefore, they had to rescue the first or second princesses for all of this. Based on their understanding, only the first and second princesses would agree to surrender and become a vassal state of Duan Kingdom. With Zhao Ling, personality, she definitely wouldn't do that. Therefore, for their own benefits, they could only choose the first or second princesses. I wonder how Father and Yi Hao are doing. Zhao Ling, couldn't help but worry when she returned to her bedroom. She realized that she was no longer able to control those ministers. Given time, she really didn't know what kind of trouble would happen. It seems that I should look for Patriarch Wang and the others. Zhao Ling, thought for a moment. She wasn't stupid. She knew that if the ministers wanted to act recklessly, they could only threaten her with powerlessness. Therefore, she immediately thought of Patriarch Wang and the others. She believed that Patriarch Wang and the others were all from the Rain Domain and were Yi Hao's loyal subordinates. She believed that as long as she sought help from Patriarch Wang and the others, everything would be much safer. Although she wasn't sure if those ministers would act recklessly, it was always better to be safe than sorry. Moreover, those ministers dared to interrogate her and ask her to release the first and second princesses. Although their attitude wasn't that unyielding, Zhao Linger knew that it was because they still had some misgivings about the ministers. If those ministers didn't have any misgivings, based on Zhao Linger's understanding of them, they definitely wouldn't be so obedient. Thinking of this, Zhao Linger couldn't help but summon her subordinates. Patriarch Wang and the others hadn't returned to the Rain Domain yet. They were all staying at Tianyuan Academy to deal with the Academy's matters. Therefore, it wouldn't be difficult to contact Patriarch Wang and have him and the others come to help. However, she knew that she couldn't personally go to Tianyuan Academy to look for Patriarch Wang and the others. Otherwise, it would arouse the vigilance of the ministers and cause them to be on guard, causing unnecessary trouble. Therefore, in her opinion, contacting Patriarch Wang and the others would be enough as long as she left it to her loyal subordinates. Chapter 9:31. Give this to the head of Tianyuan Academy's Wang family. Remember, don't let anyone else know about this. Otherwise, I'll hold you responsible. Zhao Linger handed the envelope to the guard. Yes, Your Highness. The guard took the envelope from Zhao Linger with a solemn expression. Your Majesty, Lord Sun is back. A guard reported to Emperor Tianyuan in a military tent. Quickly invite him in. Emperor Tianyuan said hurriedly. Yi Hao's sudden disappearance with Sun Shangxiang had made him very anxious. During this period of time, many things had happened that shocked him. What shocked him the most was the news he had received. Chief Long and Chief Nan had led an army of 50,000 soldiers to attack Duan Guogua's army. They had dealt a heavy blow to Duan Guogua's army. In an instant, the morale of many of Tianyuan Kingdom's troops had been greatly boosted, and they were able to defeat Duan Guogua's army. In just one day, he had received more than 100 reports of victory. This was the best he had ever been in a good mood. After all the news he had received before was bad news. All of a sudden, he had received so much good news. How could he not be happy? Of course, he knew that if nothing had happened, Chief Long and Chief Nan would never have done this. According to what he knew, Chief Long and Chief Nan had been attacking Duan Guogua's army and cities without any regard for their own lives. This had caused the people of Duan Guogua to panic. Morale and the people's hearts had dropped. Later, he received news that Chief Long and Chief Nan had both died in battle. He knew then that it was very likely Yi Hao's doing. Based on his understanding of Chief Long and Chief Nan, even as Emperor Tianyuan, it would be extremely difficult to make the two of them willingly die in battle. He couldn't help but wonder how Yi Hao had done it. At the same time, he was filled with admiration for Yi Hao. As the emperor of the Tianyuan kingdom, what kind of things had he not seen before? The person who could make him admire must be extraordinary. If news of this were spread, it would surely shock the entire Tianyuan kingdom. Of course, even though Division Chief Long and Division Chief South had died in battle, they had not died in vain. Instead, they had shown their true value. That was because the two of them had led an army of 50,000, yet they had managed to annihilate the Broken Kingdom's army of over 1 million. Even he secretly clicked his tongue when he heard this number. "Greetings, Your Majesty Tianyuan." Sun Shangxiang bowed slightly when he saw Emperor Tianyuan. "Sir, there's no need to be so courteous." Emperor Tianyuan hurriedly asked with a smile. "Where have you been these past few days, sir? Why have you come back now?" "The Lord wants me to inform His Majesty that we must destroy the Duan Kingdom within 10 days. Sun Shangxiang said. "What?" Emperor Tianyuan dropped the teacup in his hand onto the table. He looked at Sun Shangxiang in shock. "Sir, you're joking, right?" Although the Tianyuan Kingdom's army had shown signs of turning defeat into victory over the past few days, the Tianyuan Kingdom's army hadn't shown any signs of victory. However, the Duan Kingdom's army had not suffered any damage at all. They still had more soldiers than the Tianyuan Kingdom. Therefore, it would take a long time to defeat the Duan Kingdom. After all, this was a war of attrition. Defeating the Duan Kingdom was not that easy, not to mention destroying it within 10 days. Therefore, Emperor Tianyuan felt that it was almost impossible. Emperor Tianyuan did not understand what Yi Hao was up to. What gave Yi Hao the confidence to let Sun Shangxiang tell him this? "Your Majesty, don't be anxious." Seeing Emperor Tianyuan's shocked expression, Sun Shangxiang said, "The Lord said that as long as Your Majesty sees this, you will understand." After Sun Shangxiang finished speaking, he took out the token and imperial edict. Seeing the imperial edict and token, Emperor Tianyuan's expression changed. He vaguely understood something and quickly took the imperial edict and token excitedly. Emperor Tianyuan suppressed the excitement in his heart and quickly opened the imperial edict. How did they do it? Emperor Tianyuan looked at the imperial edict and the imperial jade seal of the Duan Kingdom with a shocked expression. At the same time, Emperor Tianyuan looked at the token in his hand. It was the personal token of Duan Tianya. It had the same effect as his golden dragon token. Logically speaking, these things should be in the hands of Duan Tianya. However, at this moment, they appeared in the hands of Sun Shangxiang. He could not help but be shocked. Could it be that he went to the Duan Kingdom's palace? Emperor Tianyuan suddenly thought of a possibility. This was the only explanation that could explain where Yi Hao had been for the past few days. It could also explain why the imperial edict and token were so easy to obtain. Hearing Emperor Tianyuan's shocked inquiry, Sun Shangxiang did not speak and only nodded. As expected, Seeing Sun Shangxiang nod, it also confirmed his guess. Emperor Tianyuan could not help but feel that becoming an enemy of Yi Hao was simply too terrifying. He could not help but secretly rejoice that he did not become an enemy of Yi Hao. With these things, he was confident that he could destroy the Duan kingdom within 10 days. He also understood that Yi Hao's words were not a fool's dream. Sir, I still have to give these things to you first. Please send them to every army in the Duan kingdom. After Emperor Tianyuan finished reading the imperial edict, he handed it to Sun Shangxiang. Sun Shangxiang nodded and took the items. Sir, please wait a moment. I will order all the armies of Tianyuan to withdraw and conserve their strength. Emperor Tianyuan said to Sun Shangxiang. Guards! Emperor Tianyuan could not help but shout. Greetings, Your Majesty. Hearing Emperor Tianyuan's words, a guard immediately walked in. Pass down my orders. Have all the soldiers of the three armies end their battles and conserve their strength. Emperor Tianyuan looked at the guard and ordered. Yes, Your Majesty. Hearing Emperor Tianyuan's words, the guard immediately turned and left. Then, Your Majesty, I will take my leave first. Seeing the guard leave, Sun Shangxiang also knew that he had to busy himself with his own matters. Emperor Tianyuan nodded, knowing that this matter could not be delayed. He reminded Sun Shangxiang with concern, Sir, you must be careful. Yes. Sun Shangxiang nodded and quickly left. The soldiers of the Duan kingdom had experienced both happiness and hardship in these few days. First, their morale was high as they suppressed and bullied the soldiers of the Tianyuan kingdom. Now, the soldiers of the Tianyuan kingdom had actually turned the tables and suppressed them, causing their morale to drop again and again. It could be said that the soldiers of the Duan kingdom were the most aggrieved. The soldiers of the Duan kingdom, who had thought that they would have to fight for a few more days, were shocked when they suddenly saw the Tianyuan kingdom withdraw. They immediately suspected that the Tianyuan kingdom was up to something. When they saw the soldiers of the Tianyuan kingdom really withdraw, they could not help but sigh in relief. Chapter 9:32. This was because every soldier in the army had heard the news that the Broken Kingdom was preparing to surrender. None of the Broken Kingdom soldiers were willing to believe this news. After all, although they had lost the war, they still believed that the Broken Kingdom was stronger than the Tianyuan Kingdom. Although they were constantly losing to the Tianyuan Kingdom, they believed that this was only temporary. They believed that they could still defeat the Tianyuan Kingdom. However, when they heard the news that the Broken Kingdom was going to surrender, none of them could accept it. What? Those major legions have already surrendered? They are currently receiving weapons from the Tianyuan Kingdom? Nie Tianhe frowned as he listened to his subordinate's report. As for Nie Tianhe, he was a grand marshal. He commanded a large army. As for that large army, it was composed of a total of 10 small armies. Each of the smaller legions had 100,000 soldiers. In other words, Nie Tianhe alone controlled an army of 1,000,000 soldiers. Therefore, Nie Tianhe's status was very important in the Broken Kingdom. Something's not right. Why would His Majesty suddenly make such a decision? Could there be a problem? Nie Tianhe frowned as he pondered. He knew what Duan Tianyao was thinking. This time, he was determined to destroy the Tianyuan Kingdom. Nie Tianhe had been leading his legion all this time and had been advancing smoothly all the way to the Tianyuan Kingdom. The only problem they had encountered was the sneak attack of Division Chief Long and Division Chief South. Their morale had been greatly disrupted, and they had suffered heavy losses. But now that Minister Long and Minister Nen had been killed, it would be much easier for them to deal with the Tianyuan Kingdom if nothing unexpected happened. However, just as he was about to show off his skills and wash away the humiliation brought about by Division Chief Long's sneak attack, he had never expected to hear the news of the Broken Kingdom surrender. However, he had already put in so much effort and suffered so many casualties. How could he be willing to surrender to the Tianyuan Kingdom just like that? Therefore, he couldn't help but wonder if the news of the Broken Kingdom surrender was fake. Nie Tianhe thought for a moment before he suddenly said, "Gather the troops and continue attacking the Tianyuan Kingdom." But Marshal, didn't you say that the broken kingdom has surrendered? That's right, Marshal. Be careful not to be punished by His Majesty when the time comes. Marshal, please don't be rash. Hearing Nye Tienna's words, Nye Tienna's subordinates all had anxious expressions on their faces. They all began to advise against it. What are you afraid of? I haven't received the imperial edict yet. If anything happens, I'll take responsibility for it, Nye Tienna said. In fact, Nye Tienna was unwilling to surrender just like that. Furthermore, he believed that even if he were to attack the Tianyuan kingdom, Duan Tianyao would definitely not punish him too much given his status. Furthermore, he had yet to receive the imperial edict to surrender. He wanted to wipe out as many soldiers and cities of the Tianyuan kingdom as he could before the imperial edict arrived. Nye Tienna's subordinates looked at each other in dismay. Seeing Nye Tienna's resolute attitude, they couldn't persuade him otherwise. Stop! Who are you? How dare you barge into this place? Just as everyone was about to bow and greet him, a guard's shout suddenly came from outside. Hearing the guard's shout, everyone immediately turned their gazes towards the door. What happened outside? Why is it so noisy? Hearing the commotion outside, Nye Tienna frowned and spoke with dissatisfaction. Reporting to the marshal, there's a woman outside who wants to see you. Upon hearing Nye Tienna's name, one of the guards hurriedly spoke. He was afraid that he would be punished by Nye Tienna. A woman. Hearing the guard's words, Nye Tienna was confused. Who is it? Hearing Nye Tienna's question, the guard hurriedly shook his head and said, I don't know. Nye Tienna turned to look at the others. They were all confused. After pondering for a moment, Nye Tienna said to the guard, Let her in. Under the expectant gazes of the crowd, Sun Shangxiang, who looked valiant and formidable, walked in, dressed in martial warrior attire. Seeing Sun Shangxiang, everyone was even more confused. After all, none of them had seen Sun Shangxiang before. Sir, who are you? Why are you here? Nye Tienna was the first to react and asked. Unexpectedly, Sun Shangxiang ignored Nye Tienna and directly took out the imperial edict and shouted, The imperial edict has arrived. Why aren't you all kneeling? Hearing Sun Shangxiang's words, everyone looked at the dazzling imperial edict in Sun Shangxiang's hand. They all looked at each other, not knowing what to do. What? Are you all trying to rebel? Seeing that no one was kneeling, Sun Shangxiang couldn't help but snort coldly. It's not that we don't want to kneel, but who knows if the imperial edict in your hand is real or fake? One of the generals couldn't help but speak up. At the same time, he looked at Sun Shangxiang warily. Haha, I see. Hearing the general's words, Sun Shangxiang seemed to have expected it and took out a token. After seeing the token in Sun Shangxiang's hand, everyone's expression changed. This was because the imperial edict could be made into money. However, there was only one token, and it was Duan Tianya's personal token. This token had the power to decide one's life and death. It had supreme authority. Seeing this token, no one dared to hesitate and hurriedly knelt on the ground. Greetings, Your Majesty. May Your Majesty live for 10,000 years. Everyone, including Nye Tienna, kneeled on the ground and called out in unison. Sun Shangxiang opened the imperial edict and said in a sonorous voice, By the will of the heavens, Your Majesty orders all of you to immediately hand over your weapons and equipment to the Tianyuan kingdom. All soldiers are to accept captives. After saying that, Sun Shangxiang handed the imperial edict to Nye Tienna and said, Take a look. Nye Tienna glanced at Sun Shangxiang, but still took the imperial edict. This is really His Majesty's handwriting. This imperial jade seal is also real. Looking at the imperial edict, Nye Tienna's expression changed. It's over. It's over. Nye Tienna's body went limp, and he couldn't help but sit on the ground. If he hadn't received the imperial edict at the beginning, he could have led his troops to attack the Tianyuan kingdom. However, now that the imperial edict was in front of him, if he still led his troops to attack the Tianyuan kingdom, it would be tantamount to treason. As the commander of the 3 armies and the commander of millions of soldiers, what he wanted to see the most was to lead his troops to conquer a city and achieve supreme achievements. However, this war had just begun, and he had received an order to lead his troops to surrender. To him, this was the most humiliating thing. Nietiana suddenly stood up and roared at Sun Shanshan, "No, I refuse to accept this. Why does your majesty want us to surrender? I am not Nietianha, and I refuse to surrender." You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.